Is there one? Are we good? Are we live? Oh, there we go. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Codex Legendarium. I said it right this week. Hello, we are down one Justin, as you can see, but whom is bed. So he's with us in spirit, but he is not. But Monty will be played by me this week, which means he will be more quiet than usual. Let's see. So let me see if I can remember Justin's channel announcements on how we start. All of our links are in the link tree, which should come up regularly in the chat, thanks to the bot. You can go ahead and check out those to see our, there it is, our socials, our other games that we run, like on Wednesdays and Thursdays, and also our link to Color of Change, which we raise money for every week. I think I got everything. Yeah. Come check out our other games when we play them. So that brings us into recap of last week, which was, if you missed last week's episode, you didn't miss a lot. You missed a lot, but not a lot, if that makes sense. Like a lot happened, but not a lot happened. You follow, you get me? The party arrived in the capital of Sveruk, Ilanok, which is compared to, like, I don't think I mentioned this last week, but like compared to a lot of other national capitals, it's very small, which makes sense because this place is a tundra and they do not have the agricultural capacity to support a large city. So everything is pretty spread out. They arrived, they got brought in, they met the sort of like holy man of the settlement, who the queen picked up on the way in. And his name was, where did I put him? Kilon, there we go. His name is Kilon. He's like the healer, medicine maker, and like story keeper for Stories of the Gods. His hut was surrounded by a spiraling path of 13 altars to the different gods, which Tedros kind of explained to everybody and went through all of them and had like a existential conversation with Yulyanya about why people worship gods. Going off and grabbing a drink at a little stall. The general layout of the city is kind of that like similar like paths that like come off of a main branch and then kind of like spiral and twist inward into these little like hub neighborhoods. They got brought to the lodge house, which is a massive like A-frame huge building in the back of the settlement, or off to like one side of the settlement, that is pretty much like a combination like place where the queen and her husband live, and like meeting hall, feast hall, just like general center of the community. The party was brought into. They were shown, they were introduced to the queen's husband, who kind of just like takes care of the household, does all the like cooking and takes care of the guests and everything, while the queen went off and met with Kilon. They were shown to their rooms, they were fed a nice dinner, and then they were brought to the hot springs for a bath episode, which is where things went off the rails. And there was a bet about who would confess their feelings first. Some people got impatient with the bet. Conversations got started. People were having baths and having conversations, and Galina was just off minding her business and just like watching an action replay of the campaign and previous events before the campaign. Before that point, while everyone else was doing their thing, went back to their room, had more talks and conversations, and eventually went to bed. Which means I can actually advance the day on the calendar finally. The entire last session was half a day. We didn't even get to the end of the day, technically. But we start again with everybody waking up in their rooms in the Ilanok Lodge House. Oh yeah, that's right. You woke up, you went downstairs, you saw the queen's husband in the kitchen cooking breakfast. He was putting everything together, and he said basically that there will be a little bit of time before breakfast is ready. So if you wanted to explore the settlement or go shopping or do anything of the like, with a little bit of time beforehand, you can do that. Otherwise, you can wait around until breakfast is ready. So with all of you having headed down into the main room of the lodge house, what would you like to do with your morning?
I believe Yulyanya and Viktoria stayed up in the room.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Remembering last week correctly.
Mm-hmm.
No, I insist. Of course, I can help with the preparing of breakfast.
Oh well, if you're absolutely sure, I mean, I won't. If you insist on it, then I will. Who am I to deny your help?
Wonderful, thank you so much. And then I'm just gonna help make breakfast.
Okay, all right. Yeah, he can show you around. He remembers actually that Viktoria told him last night that Galina is the vegetarian of the group. So he like part of the breakfast that is being prepared is some smoked salmon, and he's like, I'll take care of that part. You don't have to like touch or interact with it. Here, I'll let you can work there. There's a bread baking portion of it that he's like, you can work on like kneading and portioning out the dough, and I'll take care of the meat.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much. That's so thoughtful.
Oh, of course, of course. All right, so Galina's helping make breakfast. The breakfast is, I'll tell you what you're making, is pan-baked flatbread with smoked fish and roasted radishes, and then more of that like crushed berry jam type thing that you had last night as well. So you're helping make the flatbread. Anybody else have anything they want to do with their morning?
Oh, okay. So Princess is gonna like see that Galina's okay in the kitchen and not like doing what she was doing last night. She's gonna like walk out and towards the area that looked like like a shopping area. Like
okay. Okay. Did anyone else want to head in the direction of the shopping as well, or okay? Tedros, all right. So Tedros and Princess are heading over towards the trading post, and Yulyanya and Viktoria are still upstairs in the room, right? Okay. Anything you two want to get up to, or are you just kind of hanging out for the morning, like getting some extra rest?
Yulyanya keeps having nightmares, so she's just laying face down in the bed.
I get that.
Viktoria is getting ready and making herself look nice for the meeting with the queen, and is letting Yulyanya have her space, but she will be like, if you want to talk about it, you can. I'm not Princess, I'm not Tedros, you don't have to talk about it with me. I'm not going to make you, but the offer is there.
Thank you, Viktoria. I just need to sleep.
Okay, well, do not sleep the day away.
And all right, Princess and Tedros, you can make your way out through the town. It's much easier to navigate during the day. The buildings are relatively short, and a lot of them are kind of built into the ground like sod house or hobbit hole style, just to preserve resources and warmth. So that provides a very open view for a lot of it. And you can make your way over kind of to the edge of one of the walls, making your way kind of around to the outside of the settlement. And you can come to what is it's definitely a Svaruk style building, but there's a lot of elements of other places to it. Like the decor and general style has elements and pieces. There's a lot more wood to it. Just kind of like some of the elements, like just the shape of the windows just like doesn't quite match up with everything else around it. And it just generally is like this cobbled together like puzzle piece style of a bunch of different locations and regions that like you can't necessarily place if you haven't been to, but like you can definitely tell like most of these style pieces don't go together. And as you get there, it's kind of like they've got like awnings set up, and it's kind of like one central building that looks like a combination mostly like house and stock room, and then everything else is kind of set up outdoors. Like laid out on tables and kind of like almost like flea market style. You can just like walk in and out of under these awnings. And you can see two people working the stall. You can see one person is a young man who is hard to tell many features about him because it looks like he's wearing twice the like layers of everybody else kind of very much like Christmas Story, like can't put my arms down, kind of like wrapped up in furs, and has the hood pulled like pretty much all the way up around his face, and you can almost not see his eyes because he's got like one like bunch of his like fluffy brown hair just kind of like is pushed out the front of the hood and kind of hangs down in front of his eyes as he's going around and just like shivering as he stocks the shelves. And you can see another person wearing a long red coat, which stands out dramatically from the like furs and like more natural looking clothes. Long red coat that's like buttoned up with like actual brass buttons, with a purple silk scarf wrapped around their neck, and a cloak, like a dark green cloak with the hood pulled up. But their hair is styled in it's like they have very long hair, but it's styled in basically like a giant curving plume that sticks up maybe 2 feet above their head. And you can tell that it is actually styled by basically what they did was, you can pretty much tell from the shape of it, they got it wet, hung their head upside down, and just let it freeze like that so that it sticks up straight into the air. And they're kind of going around and like telling the shop boy what to do, and like generally like supervising, but not necessarily doing any of the actual manual labor.
Hello, walking up.
Oh, hello, customer. Oh, customers and customers I don't know, which is my favorite kind of customers. Hello, welcome. Good to meet you. My name is Lou Beto, and welcome to my trading post.
Hello, Lou Beto. Tedros, was there anything you particularly looking for? I just wanted to get some air, really.
I am looking for what would be probably a solid haft for a blade. I have a blade that is very, very good quality, and I'd like to put it on the end of a polearm, perhaps. And I'm also looking to see if perhaps you might have any thicker hides or furs that would be good for somebody to protect themselves.
Well, you've come to the right place, mostly because it's the only place in town. So let's take a look at what I've got. Now, weapons are, especially weapons like that, are a little bit more rare, but however, you're in luck because Savik, one of the hunters, favors the polearm in her hunting. So I should have some supplies for that as well as fur as well. I don't know if you've noticed, but they're very much in style around here. So I should have plenty of those. Majority of my stock, really.
Okay. Something more defensive is what I'm thinking. Armored. So
I see.
make a good armor for somebody much, more muscular and in much better shape than I am.
I see. I have just the thing. I just Carter, where did we get the the thing that we got? And they just like immediately point over at the shop boy, who just like sets up a crate and sighs and just, if you're thinking of the mannequin, we got that when we went and visited my home in Thragus. And Lou Beto says, that's it, that's one. You have to see this. It's perfect for buying gifts for people. Here, actually, Carter, can you bring that out for us right away? And then Carter, he goes back inside, and Lou Beto says, now, let's go ahead and look at, you said a haft, right? Here, I have a variety of materials, and they go back into like a slightly more sheltered like corner back under the awning, where there's like almost like an umbrella stand, where there's just like a variety of long things sticking out of it, and they like start picking through, and there's a table that like shoves some stuff aside, and they lay out several of these things, and they're halves. There's a variety of materials and complexity. Like some of them are already like pre-carved designs, some of them are more raw, so to speak. They're just like they're in the shape of the haft, but they don't really have any embellishment on them. But those ones are usually a bit nicer material. So got a whole wide range of options here.
All right. Well, good thing I took some measurements, and Tedros takes out the drawings and the sketches that he took of the blade, and he's got some numbers written down next to it, and kind of compares it, and is checking to see what works.
Okay. Yeah, so you can find that there's quite a few of them should work for what you're looking for. Like, which should be wide enough at the end text to not have any of the tang like hanging out either side. There's enough room for it. A few of the other ones, you're like, you can probably like with a saw or something, quick little work with the hand tools, just like deepen the groove if you need to. There are a few that the groove is too long, and then that won't really work because they'll have too much wiggle room. But you got a fair amount of options. You've got everything from like a very, very almost like white pale wood all the way down to some very very deep, rich, dark wood variety. They pretty much all look like they're the same amount of like strength and sturdiness. Like some are a little bit more springy, whereas some is a little bit more firm. But that shouldn't nothing that's really impact the usability. They're all pretty much these are all meant to be like usable as weapon halves. So it kind of depends on preference.
He'll start with the colors that look a little bit more like that the base earth color of the
Okay.
I'm blanking on words of the like earth tortoise tattoo.
Okay.
And he'll pick one of those and just kind of check from that color range and see.
Okay. You actually can find one if you're looking for like kind of matching the tattoo. You can actually find one that's a very there's one that's a very rich brown color to it, and it has almost like a crackle pattern across the surface, where it looks like when it dried, like just the very, very surface of it kind of split in places, and feeling it doesn't feel like it'll affect the strength of it or anything. But within those cracks is actually still just the visible outline of some remnants of green that from when the wood was alive. That's like that pigment is kind of like leached into the wood in that spot, so it's kind of like this deep brown color with like almost like a green crackle color across it.
He will take that one.
Okay.
And he will also ask if there's anything. So he'll say, I also have some, give Princess a look. I also have some chain, and I'm looking for maybe something that would, we're going to need to secure some stuff onto an animal, to a larger animal. And I was looking to see if we had something that we could wrap the chain in so it wouldn't necessarily cut into them too deeply.
Oh, just like some leather or cloth or fabric something like that. Oh, yes, we have some things for that, of course. Yes, just sort of well, depending on the animal, you could get there are blankets or things you could throw over the animal. There's like a saddle. There's harnesses. If you want something that'll last a little bit longer, leather is probably your best bet. But if you want something cheaper and only is worried about one trip, just some simple cheap fabric scraps should be fine.
I don't want it to chafe if it moves around a bit. I'd like for it to be, as comfortable as possible, even if we have to make sure things stay secure.
Well, if you're looking for as comfortable as possible, the best I can offer would be leather with fur-lined leather. It's a piece of sturdy leather on the outside, fire hardened, and then with a piece of fur on the inside that is nice and soft and would go against the animal. Would be the most comfortable option.
I think just the leather would be fine.
You sure? You think that would be good for what we need to do?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Then yeah, the leather it'll be.
All right. Leather and the haft, and then you also said you wanted there's Carter, and they turn and look over as Carter is like struggling and bringing out this like full body mannequin, and just like sets it down with a huff, and just like a plume of visible breath comes out of his mouth, and you can see that it's actually it's a mannequin, but you can tell that like all the different body parts are like these separate plates, and there's like these little you can see there's these little slots where it looks like some sort of key fits into, and Carter pulls that out as well. And Lubeto's like, now this is something I got up north on my last trip. I'm very excited about it. I think you're going to be the first person I can use to actually test it. So, and they reach in, or Carter hands them the key, and they take the key, and they like start fitting it into some of the slots and turning it, and the mannequin, like parts of the mannequin start like expanding and contracting and like moving. So basically as they're going through this and doing this, they're kind of like, all right, now what's the proper height for this person? And like they start cranking it around like the spine region. It starts like getting taller, and taller and taller, and like kind of expanding as they can kind of use it to match up with like Victoria's general build.
Yeah, and he will give to the best of his recollection the measurements.
Okay.
In this general ballpark, knowing that like if it's a little bit lower, it's not going to be too bad. So.
Okay. Yeah, and you can get around. You can get a good size, so you can adequately. You can adequately get a good size for Victoria. And then once that's ready, they're like, all right, so you said armor in the hide and fabric or hide and leather type variety?
The hide. We were looking at one of my companions is very, very strong, not as light on their feet. And so something that would protect them without needing to require a lot of movement would be good.
I see. So we do have hide. Hide is now it's very popular for around here. I grew up with it. It's it does the trick. If you're looking for somebody who's not very agile on their feet, there are other options, but heavier options that might be a bit more beneficial for them if you are willing to spend a bit more coin.
Well, I currently have I've got maybe let's say I've got 70 or so. No, yeah, we'll say like about 60 gold as a budget right now.
All right, 60 I can work with. Well, a bit under. So they'll say, if you want to go with a more middling variety for protection, I do have I've for a couple of my trips to the north, I do stop by and pick up a few things that might be for a discerning buyer such as yourself who kind of happens to find their way here. For about 60, I have 2 that would do pretty well, and they turn and like whisper to Carter, and Carter comes back out with a few options, and just like bundled over like his arms and shoulders, like, and everything, just like pack muling them all out here. Meanwhile, Lubedo takes the like all the halves and everything you didn't pick and puts them back in the umbrella stand, and then Carter lays out the options. So you've got a basically medium armor options. You've got a chain shirt and scale mail, which would be, given the distance you are from where they were imported, import increase for a little bit. Those would be about 60 each. And then they also have ring mail, which is heavy armor, which is actually technically would be cheaper and also give Victoria a higher AC because it doesn't include the negative,
right?
Which would actually, yeah. And then there is a Carter does hold up a full set of chainmail armor, which is like, clearly this is a, like, it's a little, I don't want to say dusty, but like it clearly shows that like this has been sitting somewhere for a very long time. They have had it for a considerable amount of time that no one has bought it. It's been in stock forever, and it's been something that they like spent a lot of money on and then just have never found a return on that investment.
Okay. Well, if maybe this chainmail I might be able to, like, clean it up a bit, and if you can let it go for the same price. I don't know if that's,
well, the chainmail is a little bit more expensive, but you said around 70. This would be a little bit above your price range, just at the 75 range.
It's kind of
I can definitely support that endeavor.
Then I guess that's a yes. Yeah.
Excellent. So 75. All right. So the prices for everything. The chainmail, and Carter is still holding it, and actually,
while Carter's still holding it, can I like walk up to it and like inspect the chainmail?
Sure, go ahead.
Been here for a while.
Yeah. You can either give me a perception or investigation check if you want to just like take a look at it and see the quality.
Me losing D&D Beyond. Okay. Perception or investigation. We go. So that's good Lord. 6 that's a 13.
Okay. Looking at it, it looks like it's been sitting for a while, but it has been sitting for a while by someone who like knows how to take care of it and store it properly. Like it's not rusted. All of the straps, like it's so it's chain over, like it's like chain layer of chainmail over like a padded underlay that like keeps it from pressing it directly against the skin. The padding is all good and has been kept and preserved. Like it's not like moth eaten or anything. The straps have been like the leather straps look like they've been properly maintained and oiled. Like this thing's been taken out properly and like the leather has been taken care of, so it's not like dry or cracked or anything like that. So it looks like it is still in very good condition despite the fact it's been sitting around for a while.
This is very well kept.
Well, I certainly try to keep my stock well maintained. It helps that the climate does a very good job of preserving certain things, other things less so.
How much do you need from me, Tedros?
What's our total?
All right, yes. So for the armor, and Carter like sets up the armor on the mannequin, like starts putting the armor on the mannequin, and like you can see there's a few places where like it doesn't quite fit, and he starts like popping out grommets and like rivets on some of the straps and everything, and then going and finding replacement straps, and then like attaching those on and like basically fitting it to this mock-up of Viktoria. Even going so far as to like, while you're doing this, very quickly, like eventually gets all the padded parts on, and then like starts putting the chainmail on, and there's a couple of parts where like he grabs a couple of tools like pliers and like this long metal rod, and then just like a bunch of extra little like metal chain links, and then very quickly just starts like popping up, like pops a section up the back, like almost like a line. That looks like there were actually some looser ones that were specifically left looser so that it could be adjusted quickly, and then just kind of starts adding chain links on to like adjust and make sure it fits like across her back and shoulders. So while he's doing that, Lubedo says, all right, so the chainmail is going to be 75. For this lovely greenwood glaive haft, that is going to be 20. And then you also said you wanted the leather protection for your mount, yes?
Yes.
All right. That is going to be 20.
Okay.
So bringing us to 20, 20, 75, 100. That'll be 115 gold pieces, please.
Oh, okay.
Don't worry about it. Question. Do you have any silver?
Are you asking Tedros or
Lubedo?
Yeah. I do, yes.
And weapons? So weapons?
Oh, silver weapons. I have a few, yes. It's a much rarer material. Not a very common request, but I keep one or two available, yes.
And what is there around their price range?
Let me see. I remind myself what the price increase for silvered is. Silvered weapons. The silvering process increases the value by 100 gold pieces above original price.
Okay. So how much of what's on your plate, Tedros, can you afford?
I have got 69 gold right now. May have to downsize a bit on the armor portion of things because the others are also important.
Mm-hmm. I think we could do without the leather. Our mount will be fine.
Okay, if you say so. Just want it to be as comfortable as possible. Our mount is important as well.
I just remembered what the mount is you're talking about, and I was like, oh, you're actually just gonna like get a mount and like use it as a pack animal. Oh, okay, yeah. Well, you have to go shopping for that. Oh, right. You're gonna pull like double duty for the chains. I see. Nope. Okay.
Okay. So all right. So okay. So it was 115. This is me asking Deem. I'm not good at math. Remember, dyscalculia. That's like, so that was like 115 for all of Tedros's stuff, but minus the leather, that would be
95.
And then the silver weapon would bring that up to
depending on the weapon, if it's like, so it's the weapon is 100 plus the original value. So like depending on what they've got for silvered weapons, like if it's a silvered great sword, that's 150. If it's like a silvered dagger, that's like 104, I think.
Okay.
102.
102. Okay. Okay, I'll get to that. I think. Let me check real quick. She has. May I see the few weapons that you have?
Yes, let me go and get those. And they go inside, and a couple minutes later they come back out. Their hair is drooped a little bit from going inside and like being in the warmth, so it like thawed a little, and they come back out and it like quickly solidifies back into hardness, but just like drooped a little bit. And so they take out like a big rolled up piece of leather that they kind of unstrap and unroll across the table, and it's got like slots put into it. So they do have a 2 silver daggers as options, and like all of these are very well made. There's like design to them and like etching. These aren't just like a basic like weapon that someone threw together. Like someone took the time to put silver on these. There's like craftsmanship that goes into them. So it's 2 silver daggers, a silvered what you can recognize as a silver pike head, and they'll say, we will fit that onto a haft of your choosing for no additional cost. It's just easier to keep it rolled up in here with the rest of them without having it attached to the whole thing. And then they also have do also have a silvered flail as well. So it's just, you can see the silver spiked head of a flail in there with like a silver chain going down to a very like dark wood haft that's like been, you can tell it's like been fire hardened, and like there's a design that's like been burned into it.
That sounds so pretty. But Princess kind of lays her eyes on like one of the daggers, and just like picks one up. It's like, I'll and the dagger would be how much? Yes,
102 gold pieces.
102 gold pieces. So that would be all right. I can do that. Then add the dagger to that.
All right, that brings your total to 197 gold pieces total between the two of you.
Okay.
Princess will just slide over the 197 gold.
Okay.
And she'll like just like add like just like round that up to 200 gold because she's feeling nice.
Okay. All right. Oh, well, thank you. For that, I have a lovely sheath that should go with that. Oh, and just for the 2 daggers, there's like a slightly different design between the 2 of them, so you can pick which one you want. One of them is more of a wide, almost like trowel shaped blade, where it's like very triangular. It comes out wide at the bottom, and then kind of almost hooks in at the bottom, just above the handle, so like your hand fits right up against the bottom of the blade. And then one of them is just more of a long, thin stiletto shape.
Ooh, the one that looks like a stiletto shape. I like that.
Okay. Excellent choice. So they take it and they go back and they find a very nice leather sheath that fits in nicely. It has like a loop that goes over and around the handle, so you can kind of like tie it in to make sure like if it's like attached to your hip, it doesn't bounce out or something with a lot of movement, but it's very easy to just like unwind and pull out for drawing. I said, there you go. And they like hand that to you with like an amount of like reverence. It's probably one of the nicest things that they have in their, all of these silvered weapons are probably some of the nicest things they have in their shop.
Yeah, Princess does a little nod back, like, Tedros, should we?
Yeah, sure. I can carry. I got it.
Yeah, the Princess will like carry the things that look a little bit heavier.
Okay, and Carter's like, and just about done. Okay, there you go. Let me just get this all undone. Yeah, so, are you familiar with this type of outfit?
I've seen it a couple times. I do tinker with a couple of things.
You want me to go over the putting on and taking off process and the buckles and everything? And
Yeah.
okay, so yeah, you want to, so okay, so reverse order and like goes through and like undoes all of it. So this is how you take it off. You can really take these off in any order. Putting it on though, you actually want to go in a specific order. So you want to do this one first, like around the waist, tighten that up, and then you do over the shoulder. Well, you tighten it about halfway just to get it on and hold everything in place. Then you do these ones around the arms and shoulders. You get those nice and snug. Then you go back to the waist one once everything that kind of pulls everything into position. You get that one tightened after the fact. You want to half tighten first, then do these ones up here, then full tighten. Then you go down to like the pants region and like he just goes through this whole process, which Tedros can probably actually remember pretty well because of the whole technical know-how and everything. And then goes through the reverse process, takes it all off, like kind of packages it up and folds it up neat and nice, puts it in like piece of oiled cloth to kind of like wrap it up, puts a piece of twine around it and ties it off for you into a nice little package and hands it over.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Happy to be of service.
All right. Princess, is there anything you wanted to do besides?
I don't know if there's much left to do. We should probably get back to them. I don't know if they probably didn't cause too much trouble while we were gone.
It should be fine. I hope it's fine. It should be fine. It's fine.
Listen, I am so sorry that I burned everything down. It really wasn't my fault if you think about it in the strictest sense of the word.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
All right.
They leave and start heading back.
Okay. Yeah, Lubedo is like, thank you and very lovely doing business with all of you. And turns and sees someone else coming in, hurries over. Carter's like, thank you so much for your business and thank you for giving them a reason to go inside. And kind of like leans in a little bit once Lubedo's gone away and just says, the work day is over when their hair droops all the way down. So anytime they go inside, it shortens my day. So I really appreciate it.
You're welcome, Carter.
Back to it. And just turns around and goes back to stocking the shelves.
As the two of them are walking back, Tedros kind of lowers his voice as best he can and says, just because you need to be, doesn't have to be uncomfortable. You get that, right?
We don't need to waste money on me being comfortable. I can deal with quite a lot in that form. I won't in the morning either.
All right. I don't have quite as much experience as you do, obviously. So,
I appreciate it, though.
I do have a question, though.
Ask away.
The dagger?
Just for emergencies.
Well, then, let's make sure that you never need to use it.
Let's hope.
All right. And I need you to do me a favor.
Yes.
And he hands over the chain mail and says, you have to give this to her.
Yes.
Well, thanks to our friends last night, it's gonna be awkward if I say no and then show up with a bunch of stuff. So
Fair. All right. But I'll know.
you were gonna know anyway. Come on,
Yeah.
let's be honest.
Well, I was gonna know anyways. What does that supposed to mean?
That means that most. I don't know if you know this. Monty forgot his cover last night, and he's supposed to be dead. So I just sometimes they get excited is all, and they forget that they're supposed to say and do specific things, and you get less excited and remember things and pay attention. And so I expect you're going to figure things out.
Yes. I'm pretty sure I know, with the exception of you, pretty much a great deal about everyone in this party.
Yeah. Well, good news. There isn't much to know about me. So I am still alive back where I come from, and I don't need to kill anybody, and I don't have to have any considerations for the time of the month. So really and truly, I'm a guy.
A guy that can heal.
So can doctors.
Yeah, but you can do a little bit quicker than them.
Yeah, well, they should practice more. All right, let's go.
All right.
Tedros said, "Get good." Okay, so y'all make it back. Back in the lodge. Galina has been very helpful in getting the food all prepped and everything. You actually learn a new way of, I don't know, how much does Galina cook usually?
Galina likes the repetitive motions of cooking. It reminds her of like the waves coming up onto shore. So basically, whenever she could, like whenever her duties allowed it, she would be in the kitchens cooking, just like hanging out with the chef and stuff.
An additional question: how quickly did that? In the past 5 months, Galina's got plenty of cooking experience. The first time she did that, how easily did cooking come to her?
Pretty easily.
Okay, so it was kind of one of those things that just like muscle memory kicked in, and it was kind of just like, oh yeah, I know what I'm doing with this.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, you're a great help. You do actually learn a new, like there's some learning here. These are recipes and types of food you're unfamiliar with previously. They're similar enough to things like you're making bread. That's basically the same everywhere you go, but it is it's like a pan fried bread. So it's not like stuck in an oven. It's like actually cooked over a flame and like rises and needs to be flipped almost like a pancake. But it's very interesting. It's very like ends up being kind of very like buttery almost in the cooking process because of that. And you cook up several like big round loaves of it and set them out on plates while Suli prepares is pretty much finishing up fish that's been smoking all night. Like there's a smokehouse out back that he's like going and getting stuff from, and like, you know, taking like, they're basically like smoked on the fish largely, so just like cutting off the portions and setting it up and getting it ready and everything. Viktoria, you're pretty much ready to go at this point. You're all prepared for the day.
Done up, got all the jewelry in, got the dress tied a little fancier, covering the tattoo, looking very nice, and I will wait for Yulyanya, and I will escort her down whenever she is ready.
Yulyanya would have eventually gotten groggily out of bed and dressed in just the normal stuff that she usually wears. Not necessarily making a fancy occasion of it all, because honestly she forgot that they were gonna be in the presence of royalty.
Okay. All right, so you two head downstairs right about when Galina is finishing up breakfast. Monty is also around. You're not sure where he went. He went somewhere. You're not sure where. He comes back in a timely fashion, though. Doesn't say much. And then Princess and Tedros also show up with just armfuls of stuff.
Oh, good morning.
Good morning, Lady Galina.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good mornings.
Good morning. I see you've put on your best for today.
Well, of course, we have to make good impression on the queen.
Good
Oh my gosh.
second impression.
I'm just wearing my normal stuff. Is that a problem?
It will never be a problem.
No, I think what you bring to the table shines through whatever you're wearing.
Okay, thank you.
And Galina, you're probably like helping bring the food over.
Yes.
It's more than just like for all of you. You can bring like your table stuff over and like the bowls and plates and everything kind of set up it like, you know, family style. It's basically just like one bowl of like the loaves, one like earthen bowl with like a top on it, a little spoon that goes in for the mashed up berries, just a plate of the smoked fish, and then some of the roasted turnips. And then Sully goes over and starts setting them up over at some of the other tables. And some people kind of just like start making their way in and sitting down at tables and get started eating as well, kind of just like spread out throughout the hall. Not a lot of people, but just like some of them, mostly the hunters that you saw like from yesterday and a few of the other ones. Looks like they're getting ready to go out on another hunt probably soon. As you all sit down, and Sully says good morning to all of you. Just good morning, good to see you. Glad you eat. Go ahead, eat. The queen will be with you shortly. She's just in another meeting this morning, and then she will be right out to speak with you. And I will make sure of it because she also needs to eat.
Thank you, Sully.
Happy to help.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right. While that's happening, we've got a couple of things. The fruits of our expedition.
Where did
I
you go?
managed just picking up a couple of things, you know. So he holds up the haft. I'm thinking this will be useful for a project. I'll be working on that when I can. It shouldn't take too long, I don't think, but I'll take care of that. We also have Princess, you have the
Yes, Lady Victoria, this chainmail is for you. You need to, you look very lovely, so you don't have to put it on now. I don't think we're going to have an attack, but when we travel, yes, I think it's fitted to your measurements, as well the best we could ascertain while we were there without you present.
I'm sorry, Princess, did you buy Victoria some chainmail?
I
thought
did,
Tedros was giving Victoria chainmail.
So I just want to make sure, because you went to the store with Tedros, who has a history of buying Victoria armor,
I thought he said that she needed armor.
and also has her measurements. But now you bought the chainmail that just happened. No, I believe it. I believe it entirely.
I did buy the chainmail.
and Tedros holds up his pouch and says, "It still has every coin in it that I left with." So
Interesting.
Wow, Princess, you're a big spender.
Surely
Spent money
something
in
like
wine.
this.
Hmm?
Surely something like this cost quite the pretty penny. So I appreciate this gift very much.
You're welcome. So, game plan, game faces.
yeah.
What is the game?
The game is politics, my dear.
That was very raw. That was a raw delivery of that line, dear sister. That was good. It was a
think
good
so?
one. I'm very happy with it.
I have
I
been
thought-
working on it.
I don't know
I
anything
can tell.
about politics.
Neither
What-
do I.
Flag. But necessary. Prince is gonna lean in, like, I don't think anyone's paying attention. It was like, at this point, I don't think I think I have a feeling that the Queen has larger pressing issues than our group, nor do they want to attract the ire of your empire for any reason at all. I don't know. I believe I'm very concerned about. None of you heard what those creatures in the tundra said, did you? No.
Again, I only have 5 months worth of language studies.
Yes, Wolf is, out of the subject, I suppose. They mentioned something about protecting her family, her people, and a failure to do so. And I think that's what incited her. I don't know. That line has just stuck with me when they said that. I don't know. There's just something to keep in mind. That seemed to incite her and bring passion out. And we've only seen Suli in terms of family, and I assume that she'd keep any family close. And the fact that there's family mentioned and not present.
Do we think were any of the victims of the elemental tower like from Severuk, or were they just like being imported in from other places?
You did get the information that they all were being imported from other places. None of them were from Severuk.
Okay.
Which, given that they were trying to keep this from like the Queen and the people of Severuk finding out about, like that was probably intentional. Like they didn't want people from Severuk going missing and having them coming looking while they're right there.
Got it. Well, it sounds like this could potentially be related to the war that is happening that I definitely remember hearing about.
Well, I mean, we should consider the fact that there was an attack here that wasn't related, right? I mean, sister.
That's right. The attack against you also happened here.
That's the one I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I know. I'm sorry.
Well,
I had the nightmares again last night about being caught in the tent, and I just remembered that that's something that happened here, and maybe they're concerned about it. Maybe they know something about it.
yeah,
Perhaps
it's connected. I'll just be honest. I can be no other way. From what I see, looking at Lady Galina, your main issue is Lady Ingwe, who is
fine. She's not a lady.
Sorry, Madam Ingwe. You'll have to sit me down and explain the structure of your empire at some
Of course. I'm sorry. I just hate her.
No, valid. From what I see, you need allies and not enemies, and this is an opportunity to create an ally to advocate for you when you go back home.
I agree. Yes.
So that would just the point of entry. I don't see this going poorly. That's all. Princess is gonna stop talking and just start eating awkwardly, and when she realized she was talking for a while. Yeah.
I made this bread, you know.
I don't understand. I thought that we were all staying as guests, which meant that I thought that she was sort of dropping the issue, right?
Well, that's the problem with politics. There's always a balance. When you are working with allies, you may not be so happy with everything that they're doing, but you're happy with enough of what they're willing to do that you are willing to put the things that bother you about them to the side for a greater goal. And that is what good politics should look like. Yes. This is very good bread.
Thank you.
Right. So as you're all sitting down and eating, you can see that more of those hunters come in, and in particular, Tedros and Viktoria, you do in fact recognize a about 3 foot tall gnome that comes walking into the building and hasn't really seen you yet.
What the fuck is her name? What the fuck is her name?
Can we remember?
I believe it's Nuela.
Yep.
Absolutely. Totally not Amy. All right.
Tedros just looks for a moment to make sure it's her, and then he gives a wave.
Yeah, she
Victoria
looks.
will
She
give
kinda,
an excited wave, like,
yeah, she kind of like looks, squints for a second, and then her eyes open, and then she kind of like hurries over and oh, hello. Hi. Good to see
Hi.
you. Victoria and Tedros, was it right?
Yes.
you remembered
yes.
all.
Yes. Good to see you. Oh wow, you well, you made it here, huh? I think yeah. Good to see you.
Yeah. Cannot thank you enough. I'm sorry, these are our companions, Princess, Galina, Yulyanya, and Monty.
Hi.
This is my sister that I was looking for. I don't know if you
Yes.
remember that. This was the one I was looking for that got
Ye-
us almost eaten by land shark.
Yes.
I mean, she
yeah.
didn't get us almost eaten by land shark, but you know.
You you talked about her quite a bit. I'm glad to meet you. I'm very glad to meet
Hello,
all of you.
lovely to meet you. I am Lady Galina.
Hello. Hi, I'm Nuela.
Hello, I'm Yulyanya of the
Hello.
Valley.
Nice to meet you. She's like 3 feet tall.
Yulyanya sized.
Mm-hmm.
You can look down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, especially because you're like sitting up on a stone bench eating, so like you're definitely looking down at her right now.
I just wanted to say thank you for all the help you gave us. I know you're probably getting ready to eat because that's what everybody's here. So, but thank you
Yeah.
again.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm here to eat. I'm supposed to meet with the queen. She wanted me something about I'm supposed to go and scout out some or go find out information about some ruins to the south that it sounded like kind of like what you were looking for actually.
I am
So glad that you
100%
are part of
sure.
that.
Yeah, yes, that will help. It'll make more sense later. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Well, if there's anything you need to tell me about that, anything you know, I'll still be here. So after I have my meeting or I need to get more information, I will. Yeah. I'll be here. I'll be around.
All right. Yeah.
Let's
Fantastic.
put a pin in that conversation and
Yeah.
the both of us have met with the queen and we are on the same page.
Oh, you're meeting with
Yes.
the queen too.
Yes.
Yes. You
Oh,
think I
that's
look this
exciting.
fancy for nothing?
I mean, maybe. I don't. You generally look fancy, at least in the 2 times I've seen you. So.
She's a very fancy lady.
Yes, shower me in compliments. I love it.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna go eat.
Yeah.
And yeah, you can see at the other end of the hallway or at the other end of the hall, like it's kind of the narrow end. You can see the queen like comes out of the back room alongside why can I never remember his name? Kilon, there we go. Right alongside Kilon, who is like looks like he came by again this morning to meet with her. And he's making his way out, and she goes and like sits in basically it's like it's a throne, but like it's not like very ostentatious. It's pretty much just like a big wooden chair, like on like one step up at the end of the hallway, like looking like set back enough that there's room in front of it, but mostly like looking down at like the tiered like eating section, kind of like at the head of it. She just kind of like you can see from across the room, like she's far enough away from people that she's not necessarily like putting on a face at the moment. You can see her just like sit down and kind of just like slump into the chair a little bit, just kind of just like head face resting in her hand as she just like sits for a moment. And Suli sees that and starts making his way over to all of you and says, whenever you're ready and you're finished eating, I believe the queen will be ready to see you.
Are you sure she does not look ready to see us? You should go maybe see if she needs something to eat first.
No, I went back and I already brought her breakfast. She's ready.
Great.
Alright.
Whenever you are.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Of course. And you can see Kalan off to one side, like get pulled into a conversation with like there's like a child in the room and like gets pulled, like talks to him for a minute, and then like you can see him just like nod in agreement to something, and then the kid like literally like leaps up with joy and then like runs out of the building. And by the time you're all done and like ready to head over to the queen, you can see like a small grouping of children has come into the hall and is like gathering up around Killan, and it's very the posture is very clear that he's about to set up for story time.
That's fucking dope. I want to go to story time.
Right?
No.
Victoria looks longingly at that situation.
Just like a big old smile just bursts across Princess's face as they walk over. Are we walking over to the queen, or do you guys want to do something else before then?
I am ready.
I am ready as ever be.
I don't know what we're doing, but I think I'm ready.
We're just going to go try to make the queen like us even more.
We're just going to like not go to war. Is essentially.
We're all very likable. I don't.
We're
see
going to
a problem.
solidify a friendship.
Yeah.
I think the queen would want to be friends with us.
You know,
Let's hope.
yeah. Princess just adjusts the cloak on her shoulder, like over her shoulder, and starts walking. If y'all following.
All right. Hey, you can make your way over. As you approach, the queen like sees you coming over, and then just puts her hands on the armrests and pushes herself up to her feet. She's inside right now, and she hasn't gone out yet, so she's not like completely wrapped up in the furs. So her like long braided hair is free out from her hood and is like hanging halfway down her back, and she's wearing just like kind of like pretty much like a simple tunic and pants for the most part, that just shows off just the gun show she's got going on here. And she stands up as you approach. No kind of crown or anything, just like simple clothes. She stands up and says, hello, and I hope you found our accommodations comfortable and warm for you.
Good morning, my queen. Yes, very much so. Thank you.
Good. Then we should speak. I will admit that I was rash in my original interactions with you. I spoke to you all as representatives of a place with which I have issues. But you are not the place you are from, and some of you are not even from that place.
I'm from the valley.
Which valley?
The valley?
We're trying to figure it out currently.
All right.
It's on the list.
What's more, after speaking with Killan, he has told me that based on some of the things I've seen of all of you, at least one of you, possibly more, shows definite signs of being what he and the stories referred to as God touched. And for that, she looks at Tedros.
Yes.
It's a common thing for people to speak to the gods, and it's a much rarer thing for the gods to respond.
Not as rare as you might think, but yeah.
It's pretty rare. It's pretty rare.
Hey, Teddy, maybe we don't mansplain religion. We're trying to make a good point here.
I mean, within the structure of organized religion that you have encountered, it is like it pretty much functions like religion normally does. It's like there's worship, there's priests, there's things, but like the ability to just perform miracles as you do is incredibly rare.
Yeah, he knows, but he's trying to basically say like, hey, the gods respond in all sorts of different ways that are not necessarily magic.
Right.
But also, yeah, I do that.
Yeah. And then she says, on top of that, all of you possess remarkable abilities. And as I mentioned on our way into town, the South Wind itself appears to come to your aid in battle and protect you, which is not something that we take lightly. That is, there are stories of this happening. There are legends great heroes of the past, for whom the wind itself responds and protects them. But it is not anything someone has seen in any of our lifetimes. So it would be foolish of me to ignore all of these signs and treat you with impatience. So I apologize for my initial hostility. However, and in addition, two of you are also heroes who have saved some of my people, which is another thing we do not take lightly. All of this to say that I perhaps judged all of you too harshly. My people are at war, one that I have no interest in fighting, but for the sake of my people, I must. And now from what I hear, stories told to me by merchants and people from far away, is a great conquering beast of an empire to the north has started sacrificing people in a ruin on my own lands, forcing me to have to consider another war. And on top of that, weeks ago, my son was taken from me.
But your son, taken from by whom?
You've seen her influence already. The witch upon the mountain, as we call her.
Tight name. Out of
Stolen.
character, tight name.
Right? Fucking sick. I want that name.
Sick. Pretty sick.
Stolen from me, taken, kidnapped. He was my husband had taken him out. He was showing him how to pick berries, how to find the ones that are poisonous, how to find the signs that show where the most plentiful bushes will be and where fruit can be found in the wilderness. When her servants snatched him up and took him from us. She's been taunting me about it ever since. She resides on a mountain to the north. The mountain is a mountain range. If any of you came down north from the city of Narak, it is the mountain range west of that city. And Galina and Princess, you did see those mountains as you got off your boat. We call her the witch upon the mountain. Her name, which we speak very seldom because we believe that names have power, is Agneta Thricefold.
Oh, the thricefold thing is definitely, it's intense.
The origins of her name are lost. She has haunted these lands for generations. How long, I cannot say. But she's a dangerous old woman who has haunted these lands for too long, and now through war and presumably also the sacrifices being performed, she has seen weakness, opportunity, and was bold enough to take the son of a queen from me. So, I am not one to ask outsiders for help, but I will accept a proof of friendship. Return my son to me, and show me that there are some Yorians who can be trusted, and that I only need to focus on one war today, not two. This is my offer to you.
We happily accept. It is beyond gracious of you, considering everything on your plate right now. Of course we will do this for you.
We don't even need anything in return. I would just want to help find your son.
It's very kind of you. And you can just the visible like just vanishing of some, not all like maybe this much of the tension, but it's enough to be visible tension just like evaporates off of her as you say you'll accept.
What if we don't say her name, but we say like Magneta Trifold or something? Is that still powerful?
It's hard to say. Any nickname or such dilutes the power. I understand. I don't understand it myself, but we try to avoid it. Think of it as a superstition.
So Maggie D is okay though?
I suppose, yes.
Wonderful. Oh, I'm ready.
Right.
I guess if you have any more information, that would also be really helpful. Like where the snatching happened, maybe more than she lives in this mountain range, and maybe like a more precise location would be very helpful.
Yeah,
if not,
yes.
we can always just get to the mountain range and figure it out from there, of course.
No, I can tell you where she is. There is a fortress on the mountain, up in the mountains. An old fortress that she has claimed as her home. I can tell you where it is. We have maps. We can show you. It's about a 2-day journey to the base of the mountains, and then a day-long climb to make your way up.
What is your son's name?
And you can see like just that, like something as simple as just like you can tell there was like a kind of don't think about it mental like compartmentalization there, but you can see just like that, you can see the cracks in that open up just as she's like something as simple as like saying his name, and she's with like a slight crack to her voice. She does say Anugi. Anugi, yes. Anugi.
Well, we will do our.
Look like? What does a noogie look like? We should probably know what we're looking for.
Yes, he is. He's about 12 years old, about this tall. She holds up a hand and like to about like 5'8" is about the height she holds up, because he's a young he's a 12-year-old half orc, green skin like mine. His beard has not yet started to come in. He wears his hair long like his father. He likes to go out and find winter flowers whenever he can and braid them into his hair. I doubt he's had time to do that wherever he is now, though.
He'll have time when he's home.
I appreciate that. If there's anything you need for your journey, for equipment, anything, if it means getting my son back, we will offer it to you. We don't have much we can spare. The war has taken quite a toll on our resources. We don't have any, for example, we don't have any mounts we can give to you. Most of them have been taken for fighting or hunting or any number of things to keep us alive at the moment, but unless you have your own means of travel, you will have to go on foot. But we can tell you the best path to make your way there and give you any food or supplies that you need.
Thank you.
Yes, I think the 6 of us we shall convene to discuss our needs, and get back to you by this afternoon to be ready to leave.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Oh, Your Highness, one of your hunters, Nuela, she did us a great service when Viktoria and I were lost in the Stone Sea the first time that we were looking to find Galina. we had to deal with some of the wildlife, and Nuela did a fantastic job of scaring it off and getting us back to where we need to go. And I would like to give my thanks for that.
Of course. She is, in fact, who I am sending to investigate and find out more about this ruin.
Yes. We did see her and spoke briefly and kind of put two and two together. So she knows roughly where we were headed because that's where we were going the first time. And I'm kind of babbling, but we can make sure that she has some sort of missive or instructions from Galina, who has taken over
Of course.
control of things since removing the responsible parties. And when this is all over, we can probably talk a bit more about the details of what happened. But
Are there people there?
Yes.
yes, currently there are.
That's I will make sure to let her know.
The at least 30 of them are not Urian citizens. They were meant to be sacrificed in the same way that the 6 of us were. And so those who haven't moved on or done something else would still be there as well. But it is not just Empire citizens who are there.
These people who were meant to be sacrificed, how were they taken, kidnapped? How were they brought?
Enticed with jobs.
I will entice with jobs. So they don't have much. I would assume they don't have much to go home to if they were enticed this far away and into this cold of a climate, which I understand is not for everyone.
It's a good assumption, yeah.
I will send Nuela with a missive from me to these people. We don't have much in the way much of the way of work for extra mouths to feed here, but Narak has more familiarity for them, and I will send word. I will make sure they can travel safely to Narak, and they can either be provided transportation to return to their homes, or I will make sure that they are granted work.
Your Highness,
Yes.
do you know anything about the circus attack?
I don't know. It happened outside the walls. It was very sudden, and I know is that the people who were there performing vanished almost as quickly as the attack came on.
Everyone but me.
Is it possible that this witch could have orchestrated this attack as well? Would that have been within her powers, her means?
It would be. It would be a strange thing for her to do. I don't know why she would want to attack performers, but you are on my doorstep and given a measure of my hospitality, so it could be another attempt at undermining me and taunting me. So if that's the case, I'm very sorry that you and yours were caught up in my conflict.
Well,
without choice.
My sister and the rest of the troop are gone, but I was just curious, did anybody else get hurt in the attack?
No, I can't say that. None of my people did, no.
Okay, at least that's good. But no one knows anything. Okay, all right.
I'm sorry about that.
It's okay, I'm used to it.
Well,
Is there anything else you need?
no, I do not think so. Lady
No.
Galina, anything?
No, I will write the missive now to have all the Orions at the ruins comply with Noella.
Thank you.
All right. Then we will leave you to the rest of your meetings for today.
Thank you. And once again, thank you for this.
No thanks is necessary, at least on my part. And Princess does like a head bow, and like starts turning around. I don't know to leave.
Okay. Yeah, you can
Kinda
make your way
waited
back
for
over to
everything
the.
to go.
Mhm.
Yeah, definitely like a respectful. I don't know that Galina curtsies because she doesn't really have the skirts for it.
Mhm.
But like, she does something respectful, I'm sure, and then leaves.
Yulyanya does her full performance curtsy.
Okay.
Viktoria does a very practiced and mechanical, like not quite comfortable with it, but very mechanical, like curtsy.
Tedros kind of makes a motion to his head and to the holy symbol, and then gives a slight bow, and then very quickly turns.
Okay. All right. All right. You can all go. Sully is waiting there, kind of behind you, who just kind of gives you all just like an appreciative nod and just a look of thanks before he makes his way over to his wife.
That went wonderful.
Yeah.
I've never slept outside before.
Yes, we're going to need to get you a different outfit if we're going to be climbing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I should probably get different shoes, huh?
Would be a good idea, yeah.
Opportunity for shopping, though. Right sides.
Oh, I've never really gone shopping before.
It's like, what? This must be rectified.
Like, of course, I've gotten to go to like markets here and there, but usually very quick little outings. Everything that we needed, really, the staff went out and got.
Yes.
I've only ever gone shopping with sister, and she decided what we got.
When we get to a big city, I'm taking you all shopping.
So you make your way to the other end of the lodge. You can see that the other hunters are finishing up their meal. Nuela gets up actually to make her way over towards the queen, kind of like passing by you. And you can also see that it does appear that story time is still going. Killan is still
I'm
speaking.
sitting down.
Okay. Nuela passes by. Yeah, you can see like you're coming in like right at the end of the last story, and you're coming into a new one. And one of the kids, it's in between stories right now, and one of the kids is just like, Mr. Killan, why is it so bright out in the morning? I can't sleep because it's daytime until I'm tired, and then I go to sleep, but then I wake up and it feels like it hasn't been much time at all, and it's daytime again. Like, where did the night go? And Killan says, well, young one, that's actually brings us to one of the stories of the gods that I think is worth sharing. Now, how many of you know the name of the god of light? And several of them raise their hand and just Nephra, and one of them, Nephrim. Yes.
Yulyanya's head would kind of just like snap over, and she'd have to just kind of wander over and sit down next to Viktoria.
Victoria's just like, I want to know where the night goes.
Well, and
Where does it go?
Yulyanya just heard God of Light, and she's like, huh. Interesting.
Well,
And Victoria is 5 months old, so you know.
It's just like, oh.
Well, Nephrim is the reason why we, as a people, have a complicated relationship with the light. So you see, among the court of the gods, they were, the gods, we begin with the gods with their lives are, they're doing well for themselves. Everything is going along fine, but things are cold and dull and boring. And within this time of dullness and boredom, arrived Nephrim, the youngest of the gods, who was born in among them, and brought with him light and warmth and happiness, energy to a life that had been cold and lifeless. And he is exuberant. And you can tell, like, he sees like the questioning looks on the kid's face as he says that, and fumbles for a word. Is just energetic, full of life, always wanting to play and ask for stories and ask questions, and just bringing light wherever he goes. And the more he's there, the more he brings that life and that energy to all around him. But then, as time goes on, that energy only grows, wanting to play and do things until all hours, and keeping the gods and the rest of us from their much needed rest. As you have noticed at this point, what you're feeling now is the height, nearly the height of Nephrim's presence, the constant brightness of light. But as you've noticed, constant light can be bothersome. And gradually the gods become restless and agitated. And more his life-bringing light becomes annoying, more so than happiness, more than bringing happiness. And so finally, when it seems like they're getting absolutely no sleep at all, and they're driven mad by his constant bothering, all of them, even Ankalor, god of peace himself, are driven to violence and murderous rage, and Nephrim is slain.
Oh my goodness.
But as he is slain, the light that he brought gradually fades, and their lives return to that dull, lifeless, boring place that they were, until once again he is reborn and he returns to their lives, and the cycle begins all over again. So you see, now in the summer months is when we are in the presence of Nephrim has been with us the longest, and the light is ever present, and we can see that we begin to miss the dark. But when Nephrim is gone and we are in the darkest months, when the sun barely graces us with its presence at all, and those days, if you may remember, where it just barely crests over the horizon before falling back down again, we miss that warmth, we miss the light. So it's a balance. It's important to remember that though we may be upset with the light now, while we may yearn for darkness and yearn for a night that allows us to get a good night's sleep, there will come months in the winter when we miss it, and we yearn for its light and its warmth.
The valley has light and warmth all the time.
And you see, like, all of the kids just gonna like turn and snap their heads over to you and like look over and then just look back at him. Just, well, why do they have light and warmth all the time and we only have it some of the time? He says, well, the valley must not have Nephrim.
Or maybe we have Nephrim all the time.
Well, so you have actually, so where you're from, you have an even balance of like day-night cycles. Like he's described, like right now, nighttime is 2 hours long. So currently there's actually more light than there is in the valley. But like in the winter, there's less. So it's a drastic like rising and fall, like changing of day and night times here.
So then your god only exists here?
I suppose so. And I've never traveled elsewhere to find out or ask if Nephrim is elsewhere.
I mean, we don't have gods in the valley. At least we don't talk about them, but I thought that they were all supposed to exist or not exist.
Well, perhaps they exist. Perhaps they, like people, live in some places and not others.
Oh, well, that makes sense.
That makes complete sense, yes.
That makes perfect sense.
Finally.
This guy should teach preschool.
He kind of
He
does.
is.
Kind of is. I guess that's what this is.
Yeah. You just like sat in on a preschool class.
It was very helpful.
Very helpful.
You're just there for story time. That's what y'all doing during this period of time.
Victoria's still grappling with the fact that gods are killing each other.
We just expanded the age range of this preschool from 5 months to 25 years old.
Expanded in both directions.
Yep.
All right. Well, I think that's enough stories for today, children. But I'm sure your parents are looking for you. You have morning chores to get to. And like stands up and kind of straightens his robes and says, "And if one of you would like to help me back to my hut, the steps are a bit more difficult coming down from the lodge house than they used to be, and I would greatly appreciate it."
Yep, I'll do it. I'll do it. And
Oh,
Victoria
no.
will stand up and offer her arm.
All right.
Yulyanya's on one end.
He's like kind of hobbling along with his walking stick. Well, thank you. You can escort him out of the lodge house.
All right, so they aren't going to help us brainstorm what we need for this expedition.
I think we'll be fine. Yes, so I've never been on an expedition like this, and from you and Victoria have been pretty much attached to the hip from what it sounds like, so I'm going to assume that Victoria does not have any more input on the subject either than you would have had.
No, not likely.
Would like Princess from her history have like an idea of like things like they would need for this trip?
Okay. Yeah, I'll say also like between you and also like Monty helps as well, because like he's definitely familiar with like sleeping on the road and outside and everything, because as you found out, he lived just like in the jungle for a while. So basically what it comes down to is, at least for the walking, like food, water, shelter are your biggest things. So water is actually going to be the easiest thing to come by, as long as you have something to melt it in, because there's snow everywhere. So it's really, you can just like scoop up a pot of snow anywhere. This is not an era of pollution, so like all of the snow around you is perfectly clean. So just like scoop up a pot of snow.
We don't even need that. I have shape water. I can melt snow and whomp.
There you go. Yeah. So basically with shape water, you can just like reach out around you and just like as you're walking, just like fill up your water skins and everything from just your surroundings. So that is not an issue. Food, unless you want to be hunting, you want to put together enough rations for all of you to eat. And then the biggest thing is going to be shelter, which if you want to, you can try and put together makeshift shelters as you go, but otherwise getting tents is probably going to be a good idea if you don't have them already.
Why?
I definitely don't have a tent.
I don't think so. Imagine, Prince was just hiding that underneath her cloak. It's like, oh, I have a tent.
We have, I think Monty and I have significant amounts of circus tent fabric that could be fashioned into.
Want to make, but I do think the queen did offer her assistance, and so if we lose a tent, perhaps that would be useful. But if we can actually have tents that we could pitch up that are easier, that we don't have to do makeshift every night, I think that would be a benefit. And it was a 2-day journey to the bottom of the mountain, and that's not to say for even the climb or any mishaps that would happen in between. I have lost track of the days. How many days until?
Oh, until your event?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4. You're 5 days out.
Yeah, 5 days.
Fantastic question.
Yeah. So time crunch right there.
Yeah, I don't have an actual tent.
Yeah, so a tent, and then rations would be, I'm sure, I mean, just to save time, I'm sure all of us are capable of some form of hunt, but that would take up some time.
And the queen basically, to expedite things a little bit, you can pretty much just tell Sully whatever you need, and he'll just kind of like put together a care package for you.
Oh, he's so sweet. Mm. Alrighty. Wait, Galina, do you want to find your traveling clothes?
I'm wearing my traveling clothes. These are the clothes I travel in. That's why I put them on specifically to come on this journey. I wrote it right here in my journal. Wear traveling clothes.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, maybe
I feel like I was shot like 3 times.
oh my goodness. I'm trying to do like my princess voice when I'm like sick. It's so great.
Do you not like my outfit?
No, I love your outfit.
Thank you, everybody does.
This outfit certainly wouldn't be my first choice of wardrobe if I was not traveling all the time. But you know, for something like this, I would feel more comfortable if you were in something that you could move around better and climb better in. I don't want to have a repeat of our cliffside venture with you and Tedros.
Well, I think there should be decidedly less being thrown off of a cliff. And so we should be all right in that regard. But
well, we are going up a mountain to meet a witch. And we
okay.
do not know what she holds. And she sent the things that threw you off a cliff, so I don't think it's far out of the
Should we get
possibility.
rock climbing gear? Do we need pittance?
Someone explain what a witch is?
Mm.
Well, the term witch, it kind of is a more negative way to respond to a magic user, a spell caster. Often used against women in an inherently kind of misogynistic sort of way. But yes, as far as I can tell, is just a mean old woman on the mountain. Not all witches. This witch specifically is a mean old woman on the mountain.
A mean old woman on the mountain who has the M word?
Who has the M word, yes.
Yeah.
And a great deal of control over it as well.
Yes, it seems like her control over it is better than mine at the very least.
Well, it sounds like Tedros.
What was that laugh?
I'm thinking about my own abilities.
All
Well,
right.
it looks like Tedros has some sort of god M word, and that's pretty cool.
Thank you. But if she's actually summoning these things that we've had a run-in with, then we have to assume that she's working with far darker powers. And
Well, I have light magic.
you do.
Mhm.
Huh.
She has light fist, if I recall. I know it's the heat of a fight, but
Yeah, I go pew pew.
it's very
Well,
impressive.
And I can do this. And she just pulls out Poppins and just casts light. Just making a rabbit glow.
all right. Well, that will definitely come in handy. And I think that I will keep that in mind when I am thinking about what I need to do, what we're going to need to do on this journey.
Yeah, to fight the magnetic lady. The three folds? 3 of the folding? I don't
Close
remember.
enough.
What's the son's name again?
Anugi?
Anugi. It's hard for names to have power if you can't remember them.
Yeah. Well, I imagine that the people who make the best use of them probably have pretty good memories.
Fair enough.
All right. Well, I have to work on something. Question. Princess.
Yes, I may have an answer.
He hands over the haft
Mhm.
and says and asks, what if you would have your way, what kind of weapons are best for you?
I'm trying to remember what like I think hmm. So out of character, I'm me looking at what weapons I can hold.
I think you can use pretty much every weapon because you're a barbarian, so you get martial weapon
Yeah.
proficiency.
Yeah, okay. I don't know. Now that leaves too many options now.
Okay.
You do like two weapon fighting, right?
Yeah, I do have two weapon fighting.
Okay.
Yeah, so she's like, oh well, and she pulls out her two, me forgetting the name of my own weapon.
The scimitars?
Scythe?
Not
No,
scythes,
they're
yes.
scythe.
Yeah.
Sickles, yeah.
I was like, well, I typically use these, just a personal preference from home, I suppose. But I've been trained in many weapons. I'm comfortable with most anything.
Good to know. I will keep it in mind for the future.
Tedros,
Yes.
for the purpose of crafting a weapon, especially keeping that in mind, since you got the glaive haft and everything, the weapon if you wanted to put this together as a glaive haft, a glaive is a two-handed weapon, so it wouldn't exactly work like it wouldn't necessarily work with the two weapon fighting. However, a thought does enter your mind as an option because a glaive has reach, as a two-handed weapon, does 1d10 slashing. Instead, it's a little bit of a smaller blade. You could adjust things a little bit. If you added a blade on either end, instead of a reach weapon, you could create a double weapon instead that would allow for basically an application of two weapon fighting, but just like one weapon, but you can attack with both ends.
Mhm.
I've got an idea.
All right. And then did you hand Princess?
Yeah, and he'll take that back.
I'd love to see your idea. This is a beautiful piece from that shop.
Yes, and I think I've got a very, very good idea on how it's going to be used. So, if you'll excuse me.
All right.
I am going to go take care of this.
Have fun.
Oh, I will. And he walks off. He will head back to pick up an additional blade that matches that one, like not obviously not a non-magical one, but another blade that matches that one, so that it's got the same sort of weight to it, so that it's more balanced.
For that, I'll call that about a short sword, so 10 gold.
Okay. So he'll hand over the 10 gold and see if he can get started on putting that together.
Okay, so pretty much you have the blades already, and it's just a matter of affixing the blades in. So you can do that. It will require a little bit of supplies. Only thing with that is interesting thing, the only place you've seen a large amount of metal at all in this settlement has been at the trading post. Like everywhere else, metal is not a very used material. So they would probably have the stuff. And like, given what Carter did to like fix up and fit Viktoria's chainmail, you would probably guess they would have like the materials and supplies you would need, like a small forge or some kind of thing, like something to heat up metal with in order to make the I think rivets basically that you would need to like affix the haft and the blades.
Okay. Then he will spend his day there, and once he's done getting those together, he'll probably pop upstairs and check to make sure that he's someplace warm while he's putting everything together.
Okay. So yeah, you get the materials. You do need to heat the rivets in order to put them in, because basically it's just like a little peg that goes with the hole, and then you like hammer it into an anvil, so it kind of like squashes out on either end so that it holds it in place. So you do need to kind of like work at the like the small forge they have there. They've got like a small forge and anvil that's just big enough for like these small pieces, so you kind of have to work out there.
Okay, we'll spend time there. If there's anything you need me to roll or need me to
for this, you're basic. It's the pretty much like everything is already made. It's just the finishing touches of just hammering some things in place. So it's a pretty quick process aside from heating. Not a lot of like there is skill involved, but not a lot enough that like I need you to roll for it. So you go ahead, you heat the things up, you set the blade up, you adjust the wood, shave things out. You add like another. Are you doing the double blade option?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you add another notch into the other end, like drill in 2 holes for where the rivets go through to attach the blade to the actual haft and everything. You can go ahead, you can hammer in the short sword one at the end, to like start and test it on the less important end of things, just to like get the process down. And it fits pretty well, works as like a spear basically just with that. And then you go to the other one, you start hammering them in, you get the first one in, you get the second one in, and it's like on the last hammer strike, you strike it and the sparks come off of the hot metal. And as you do, the blade glows this just like ethereal blue color, and then all of those crackles across the haft just like flare into that same blue light as just a wave of energy just starts from one end and just crackles its way down the haft and then down and kind of like dissipates off the end of the other blade as you finalize and finish this new weapon.
All right. He will give thanks for the use of the forge, and might pick up some money to get some like a sheath that'll go over either end so that it's not just like blades just hanging out there. And then he'll head back after he's done, and he'll probably just spend time looking at his notes and stuff like that upstairs in the room that they're sharing until people get back.
Okay. The Carter and Lubedo are basically just like that one, like they're just like kind of around while you're working, but that like final stroke is just some like a burst of magic through the whole thing. They're kind of just like staring slack-jawed at you the whole like after that, and just kind of like wide-eyed, like they just witnessed a miracle as they're like and they give you like just take the money, like mechanically like take the money and give you the sheets and everything after they're just like staring at you like you just performed a miracle, which you kind of did.
Just and before they head out, he winks at Carter and then points at what's his name, little head thing, his hair, and Tedros will try to cast prestidigitation to heat up material, and just watch his head just
heat their hair up.
Yeah.
All right.
Just for the briefest moment.
Yeah, Lubedo's just like watching, doesn't know what magic is, and then their hair just droops about like halfway. Like the cold air gets to it about like at like a downward angle, but it's kind of like flopped over in front of their face at this point. And Carter's eyes just go extra wide.
So cute.
Yeah,
all right.
That's it from Tedros.
Okay. All right. And I will work on making that custom weapon work with Justin on making that and putting it into D&D Beyond for whoever ends up with it. Okay. Anybody else doing anything with the rest of the day that you have just to get ready and prepare? You can tell Suli about the supplies you need, the tents and the food and everything. He gets basically gets like a little sled put together for you with everything on it, kind of like with everything ready. Like you can, there's straps to bundle it up, but like it just has a strap attached to it so someone can pull it, but you don't need to actually like carry the stuff on you, and it just pulls very easily over the snow.
Oh, well, thank you, Suli. I appreciate this.
Of course. Aside from basic hospitality, if this is what it takes to get my son back, I would put together a dozen sleds for you.
Yes, that's yeah, Princess was lost in thought for a little bit. Yes, I would probably go even if none of these people agreed to come with me. So
Definitely
It's very
no.
kind. It's very kind of you.
Yule pops up from the snow beside me.
Is there anything you'd like us to say to him?
If you bring him back, I'll be able to say everything I need to myself.
Then we will.
Hello, I'm here also.
Hmm.
What do you want us to do? I didn't want to bring this up to the queen because she seems like she has a lot going on right now.
Mm-hmm.
But what do you want us to do if he is no longer with us?
Find out for sure, then we can grieve.
Of course.
But I believe he is. All the stories we have of the witch say that she is prideful and loves to tease and taunt people. So she would keep him alive as long as possible, just to taunt us with the fact that he is there but out of our reach.
All right, well, hopefully that we can use that to our advantage.
Yes, just get in, find him, and leave. Hopefully you can avoid the witch entirely.
Yes. Okay, bye.
Thank you. Yeah, yes, thank you.
Anyways, I personally have a vendetta with this witch on an emotional level. If you are blessed with the gifts of magic, you shouldn't be using them to hurt people. That's preposterousness.
She stole a boy, and that's not cool.
It is very much not cool.
I hope we can find him.
We will definitely find him. Right, cards? No, I'm kidding. It doesn't actually work like that. I'm just joking. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to lighten the situation, the atmosphere.
Would it be good cards karma if I drink one of these in the cards?
And oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Bought it
Oh
just for this purpose.
Oh my goodness.
I love that.
So is there anything anybody else wants to do in preparation before you leave?
Is Storyman gonna tell me any more stories on our way?
Oh, that's
back?
right. You were walking him back to his hut. That's right. So you can get him back down down the steps and over towards his hut. You walk along the spiral path by the altars, and well, this is very kind of you. Thank you for walking an old man back to his home on a slippery day.
I wanted to make sure you did not, fall and break your hip. I mean, no disrespect, but you do look very delicate.
Oh no, none taken. I very much am.
Yeah, I forgot that we were back there.
Mm-hmm. This is time passed. You got him back. That happened. We're rewinding a bit. Yeah.
We're
Yeah,
going.
Yep.
Do you have a title, or just do I use your name? What?
Oh,
What is the polite way to refer to you?
Wondering too.
Kilon is fine. I don't have we don't deal much in titles.
Well, what do you do?
Well, I keep the stories and I pass on the knowledge from our predecessors and our ancestors, and I make medicines, and I keep track. I do a bit of healing, well, not what I understand your friend can do, more poultices and the longer method of healing.
Yeah, our friend is pretty special and good at what he does.
Yeah, Victoria definitely thinks so.
Shut up. I have a question for you though.
Yes,
Storyteller, I'm so sorry, I forgot your name. I know you just told it to me.
Hello?
Kilon.
Kellogg. Yes. Where does your stories end? Like, are they Spheric only, or like is there other places that you know stories from?
Well, what do you mean? Where do they end?
Like where's like the jurisdiction of your stories? Like, say, do you know stories from other countries or only this country?
Only these lands. I don't know many stories from elsewhere. We don't see people or travel much, unfortunately.
And like, what is the time limit on your stories? Like, is there a certain point in history where they stop? Or like, do you know all of history for these lands?
Well, I don't know all of history, and it's hard to say. Many stories are passed down. Many stories are passed down, and the histories and the myths and the legends all sort of blend together, and it's hard to say which of these are exaggeration or to take poetic license, and which of these are accurate histories. But the message and the values and the important parts are carried forward, and that's the important thing.
Do you think some of it's not true?
I certainly think that some things have been embellished for the purpose of entertainment.
Oh. You can do that.
Yes.
You can just lie.
Absolutely, I did it all the time before my uncle found me.
Well, yes. Well, and there's a difference. There's lying, and then there's exaggerating. Certain things of, a great hero, for example, who story says can lift a wagon over her head with a single hand, and perhaps it was two hands, but maybe she could have. We don't know for sure.
No, I think Victoria could lift a wagon over her head with one hand.
It depends on the size of the wagon, if there's like anything on it and like what it's made out of. Like, I would give it a solid chance.
Exactly. So perhaps for you, for example, there are those considerations to be made, but those aren't included in the story, and the next person who carries on the story and tells it is picturing a large, fully loaded wagon, and it's just sort of a miscommunication between two people. One person exaggerates and leaves out those details. The next person makes an assumption, and until we carry on, and then in the next couple iterations, the hero is lifting an entire house.
Are there people who don't know that it's an exaggeration?
Well, children certainly, and it's hard to tell exactly what is. I know that there certainly must be exaggeration somewhere within my stories, but I can't say for sure which is what.
Do you
Well,
have
what
any
of it do
stories?
you believe?
Sorry, say again, what?
What of it do you believe?
Oh, I believe in all of it to a degree. I think that there's an important bit of every story. I think that regardless of whether or not I think that these things actually happened, I think that the story itself is important, and whether or not they happen exactly the way I say they did.
But you believe in Nephrim.
Oh, yes.
Can you talk to him?
I can, yes, though it's common for us to be able to, all of us speak to Nephrim or the other gods. on mornings like today, where the sun rises again only mere hours after it sets, many of us find ourselves speaking to Nephrim and asking if why he couldn't stay away just a little bit longer and let us get our sleep. But it takes a special kind of person like your friend for the gods to speak back.
You would ask a god that got killed to stay away?
Well, it's part of the story to explain why our nights are so short. But
Or Nephrim. I wouldn't want to come.
and yet, perhaps there are some lessons to be learned from the story, and what lesson is different from person to person?
I think I have a headache.
That sort of thing tends to happen.
I cannot believe that Yul is currently trying to get a religious philosophy degree.
Is there anything that you could tell us for our journey?
Well, we'll have plenty of light to travel by. That is one of the blessings of Nephrim at this time. Night will be blessedly short. Stay dry. The cold is worse if you get wet. Keep your food safe, and I'm sorry to say I don't travel myself, honestly. The hunters would be probably better people to ask about the logistics of travel.
I was asking you about the spiritual part of travel.
Well, there are stories about travelers and travel, but I also know that sometimes when it comes to practicality, the spiritual side is not necessarily the most relevant.
It's the spiritual side I can't stop thinking about.
That will happen, but an important thing to remember is that while the spirits and the gods are important and big and interesting stories, that the here and now and... I'm sorry?
They aren't very helpful?
The here and now is separate from them, and while the gods have impacted this and how we've gotten here, we ourselves have to chart our own path and live in the place we found ourselves. So while Nephrim...
Ooh, that's just like the cards.
The cards?
Yes, the cards are supposed to tell the future, except they don't tell the future.
They don't
tell me
tell the
anything.
future. They just tell you like the path that you are on.
Yeah, I don't understand this whole path that you are on.
It's a religious, not a religious, but like a spiritual thing. If you don't get it, you don't get it. Like, I can teach you, but you have to be willing to learn.
I want to.
Well, we can maybe do that on the road. Not enough time now.
Well, it doesn't seem he knows about the cards.
I'm not familiar with any cards, no.
Well, I do have other questions for you if, Yulyanya, you are finished with your religion side quest here.
I don't have a side quest. I'm just curious.
Have you asked all of your questions about your religion curiosity?
Probably not, but I can be quiet.
I would like to apologize for her, just first and foremost. She's very curious.
There's nothing wrong with curiosity and doubt.
But curiosity did kill the cat, as we say back home. So
Usually it's the cold that gets ours.
it's not very cold where I come
To
from.
have a cat.
Anywho's, do you happen to have any stories of an old island called the island of Quadmentis?
You know, I can't say that I do.
Well, it was worth a shot. Do you know any of these stories about the witch that lives on the mountain?
Well, those, not many of them. We try not to talk about her too much, but I'll summarize for you is that she's very dangerous. She conspires with nefarious powers. And the stories say that her mountain is littered with the bones of heroes who have tried to challenge her.
Oh, so she's against the environment as well. God, this keeps getting worse.
She is bad news, as they say. She has been
Now-
around, and she has been around in a problem since before I was born.
Now, I mean no disrespect to you or to the queen or to her husband or to anybody in this land, but are we sure that the witch is the problem here?
How do you
Are
mean?
we sure there's not just like a misunderstanding? Like, you said yourself, stories have exaggerations.
True, although the wolves possessed by evil spirits that attacked you on the road did come from somewhere.
Maybe there is no witch on the mountain.
Perhaps, if that's what you find when you get there, let us know and we will change our stories.
Absolutely. Okay, on a scale of like 1 to 10, what would you say like the danger of someone getting thrown off this mountain is?
I don't know the shape of the mountain myself, but I think every mountain has its own cliffs and drops that should be watched out for.
But it's okay. Tedros got you some armor.
No, Princess did. We went over this at the breakfast table. It was
No, Princess paid for it.
And how do you know this? Were you there with them?
No, but Tedros had already talked about getting you armor. I'm pretty sure it was his idea.
Yes, probably it was, but just let him have this. Let him believe that we think Princess was the one that got it. Give him that peace. Is like a little white lie, like it's not going to hurt him.
Oh yes, I learned today that you could just lie.
Absolutely, you can just lie. How do you think I made my money before my uncle came?
I made my money through gymnastics.
I made my money by telling people that they were going to get rich within the next 6 months, simply based off of one card.
But then the cards didn't actually say that.
The cards said that they were going to go into great financial ruin.
But the cards didn't tell me anything. I'm feeling...
Do you want the cards to tell you that you are going into financial ruin?
I want the cards to tell me I'm going to be rich.
Well, they don't have that option. It is really just like financial.
But you're telling people that... Oh,
it is a
lie.
lie. It is a performance, if you prefer to think of it like that.
Okay. I could perform.
Yes.
Okay, so I'll perform like I don't know that Tedros got you armor.
Exactly, and make it the most believable performance of your life.
Mm-hmm.
Little fist bump.
Just like jump in order to complete it.
We will leave this old man probably to his afternoon nap and go back.
Sounds good. All right. Is there anything else anybody wanted to do before you head off and start on the road?
I would like to go back and put the armor on.
Okay, yeah, you can try it. You can it's all like bundled up. You can unbundle it and lay it all out, and yeah, it's like a padded set of under armor. It's like a padded set of armor basically with chainmail that goes on over it.
With the package, with the stuff, Tedros did write down the directions for how to put it on properly and slipped it inside, so that's in there as well.
Okay.
I'd like to meet up with Viktoria, maybe help her don her armor, and also just be like, you will never believe what happened to me last night. Okay, so I was doing the cards, the ritual, the meditation, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And I was asking the cards, please, please, please give me anything from before, you know? And for the first time they responded. And it was terrible. So bad. Ria, when I tell you that it was horrible. It was gut-wrenching.
Well, what was so horrible?
I do not know. All I got was the feeling of complete and utter loss and devastation, and backed off immediately.
That is not enough to go on. But like, yes, we lost our memories.
Yeah, of course, but it's like, obviously it was always going to be like a traumatic thing that caused the lapse in our memory. But now it's feeling like it was like a traumatic thing, you know?
Why couldn't it have just been like a good thing? Like, oh, you guys don't need these. Just
I
snatch
thought it
them
was
away.
like a purposeful thing.
Where did you come from?
Jesus Christ, you're so quiet.
What?
What? I didn't notice you when they came in. I'm so sorry.
You are very quiet. Great performance, my dear.
Am I actually quiet in real life?
Presumably, because you keep sneaking up on people.
Okay, yeah, sorry. I keep forgetting I'm not in rooms, but I'm in the room now.
That's pretty much all I've got, and I just wanted to let you know. Also, you did this strap wrong. Here, this is how you do it.
Well, I cannot see on my back. But thank you. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Also, just is Tedros or Princess in the room, or are they like outside?
I think they're out doing things, yeah.
Also, just I told you this, but I'm going to tell you, we are pretending like we don't know that it was Tedros that got this. We're letting him have this.
Yes,
Okay.
I picked up on the facial cues halfway into what I was saying earlier at breakfast, and tried to do the hard break, and it didn't work out very well.
It was not like with the queen the first time.
You better shut up. You
Teaching
better
me how
shut
to
up.
lie.
You better fucking make me.
Oh, I'm going to make you.
Nah, I don't think you have it in you.
I'm going in for a nuggie.
I would like to resist.
Roll. I suppose that's a grapple check. So Galina, roll athletics. Viktoria, roll either athletics or acrobatics.
Yeah, fuck you. Good luck. What's my athletic score? I don't think I have a very good one.
What is it? What is it?
All right. Athletics -1. All right. So I got a natural 20 for a
Wow.
19.
I rolled a 16 on the die, +3 for a 19.
Wow. Okay. So it's super close, but ties do go to the defender. So it's like you reach over and like get Viktoria in the headlock, and then you bring the knuckles to the top of her head, just in time. Like you get like one swipe before Viktoria just slips out and backs away.
Oh,
I am
That new
learning your
armor.
tricks. I am
Oh.
learning your tricks, sister.
we'll keep studying.
No, I'm
I'll
great. I don't like studying. It hurts.
I'm in a nuggie, yo.
She just kind of leans in. She's enjoying the contact.
Question: when Princess left Galina, had she convinced the lady to get a pair of pants and boots? No.
No.
Then Princess is gonna go out and find some.
Okay.
In fairness, Yule is also not wearing pants or boots.
You're wearing like a bunch of cloaks though.
A
You're
bunch
not
of cloaks and a leotard.
but like that gives you dexterity. You like Prince is like you can't climb in like you've stated as an issue before that you can't climb because of your outfit. You stated the footwear problem multiple times.
Yeah.
Princess listens, so I don't know. Just it doesn't have to be a thing, but like that's what Princess is doing during this time.
Yeah. So let me just find what's it called? You're looking for basically traveling clothes. Okay. Let me just find what there we go. Traveler's clothes is 2 gold.
Okay. Yeah.
Dropping coin.
I can't do that for very much longer, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. 2 gold. Bring that, bundle that back up and bring it back.
Okay.
Oh wow. Thank you.
You don't have to wear it until we get to the mountain, but when we get to the mountain, you're putting these on.
All right, that gives me
That's
2
not
days.
what I'm wearing.
Do you need shoes? Do you feel you need it?
I don't know. What will we be walking into?
A mountain.
A mountain.
Well, I've never been to a mountain. I mean, at least I've never walked on a mountain. I mean, to get out of the valley, we did have to go like kind of up this mountain over the cove, but I didn't have to get out.
Okay. Prince is just gonna turn back around and go to the same place and get like they have like pair of boots.
Okay. One gold.
Yeah, come back with the boots that fit you. Will these do?
Oh my gosh, these are beautiful.
I'm gonna slip 10 gold into Princess's bags while she's out grabbing the second set of boots.
When
Okay.
Princess comes back, does she realize anything is amiss?
Does she check in her bags for just like
I don't think she would have left her like bags. That doesn't seem very Princess like. You would have to like sneak that in there when she's leaving.
All right, then I'll sneak it in there when she's leaving.
sleight of hand check?
Come on, you were a criminal on the streets. You gotta.
Can I do performance instead? Like
No.
I'll just talk at her to try to distract her. Okay, I actually rolled pretty decently. Sleight of hand. I've only got a +1 to that. Also, that's spelled wrong. Oops. So it's gonna be 17.
Okay, I think that does beat Princess's passive perception.
Yeah,
So you do. You managed to just barely just slip those into the bag.
I really don't need it.
I mean, I don't need my money.
We just keep on like throwing money back and forth.
Money fight.
I mean, if you guys want to do that, that seems like a very private moment between the two of you. Just like let us know. You and I can leave.
Oh my god.
It just reminds me of a comic I saw once online. It was just like Iron Man and Batman standing there just throwing wads of money at each other. And then Spider-Man just like scurries in on the floor and just starts like collecting it up.
I've seen that.
Lady Galina doesn't know Princess has money. I'm sure. Things like being nice. Like okay. All right. Well then I'm
All right.
Yule is just sitting on the floor like staring at her feet because she's like never had shoes like this before.
all right.
All right.
I'm good to go.
Any other preparations before you go?
While like walking and talking, Victoria is braiding her hair back up into the style that everyone knows and loves.
Okay.
When I know what words are. When Princess comes back the second time, Tedros will offer back the decidedly heavier and more more worked on piece and say, take a look at this and see how it works.
I will take it.
Okay.
It's forget is it like connected or it's like separate?
Yeah, it's like one long pole with blades on either end.
Okay, he's holding it.
Sick.
I guess he would swing it around.
Okay.
That giving everyone a wide berth.
Let me see. So it does, like, as you're swinging it, it kind of just like there's this slight almost vibration to it, like a hum of energy through it as you're spinning it around and swinging it. And you do get the sense, after spending a bit of time with it, that you there's like a sense of like built up energy in it that you get this sense of, that you feel like you could just kind of, it's almost like the way you like, almost in the same manner of how you cast your magic, that little like extension of like expression of will that you do to like create magic. There's like a little bit of that, like you can feel this built up tension in it. You feel like you could just like, if you willed it and you swing it, you can like kind of release that in a swing.
In a direction no one's standing, Fritz is gonna do just that. They're like outside of the gates at this, at least in my head we were, because we were about to
Oh, do you do this like as you're on your way out of the town?
I wouldn't. Where are we? That's what.
I thought that we were walking out.
Okay, so on your way out, yeah, you can do this on your way out.
Okay.
So you can go ahead and you can swing it. You can kind of express that little bit of will, and as you do, the blade itself glows that bright blue color, and as you swing it forward, you're kind of pointing in the direction of just like piled up snow on the side of the road, which actually gives you a very lovely view of what it does, because you swing it forward, and then in a 30-foot cone in front of you, you see repetitions of that swipe mirroring your swing throughout that cone, just like slice into the snow, just like all in the same direction and all in the same motion, as if you were standing there and swung yourself in those places. Like the blade, like the swing of the blade is like duplicated and replicated at all of those points. And then as soon as you do that and it's over, you can feel that pent-up energy is just gone and expended. And I will tell you that it will recharge at the following dawn.
Pretty fucking cool. Hopefully we don't get attacked.
Okay, yeah. Well, listen.
No, that's tight as fuck.
Tedros, this is a beautiful weapon.
Well, I figure you will know when to use it, and now that we know that it does that, I think you will also not to point that at any of us. But as many of us as possible need to be able to do as many things as possible. I have been thinking about what we might need, and I'm going to pray on it. And I'm keeping my fingers crossed that I've given enough forethought, but we're going to need to be careful about what we're doing.
Yes, of course. Are you sure you want to give this to me?
Yeah. Yeah. There are a lot of people here working towards the same goals, and I want to make sure that I like to spread the love around, put it like that.
All right, thank you, Tedros. I don't know if I'm assuming you give Princess the sheath for it.
Yeah.
However you pack this away.
Yeah, and it's just like
Princess is gonna just shake Tedros's hand, like, thank you. All right. Shall we head off? Who wants to pull the sleigh? I'm good for it. If anyone wants to help.
I can help. I am very strong.
Right.
Right.
Go.
You can all set up. Yeah, you can all set off and go. I will also tell you. So the effect there for that weapon is, it counts as a magic weapon for that, just the one end of it. Maybe I'll make both ends. We'll decide. I'll still decide. But from the one end, once per day, you can basically, the way it works is you make an attack roll against every creature within that 30-foot cone, and then you basically just like, you roll one attack, you compare it to the ACs of everything within that cone, and then you also roll damage once for everything in that cone.
Okay.
So it's basically as if you're hitting everything with the same strike.
Okay. That's so cool. That's so
Sick
dope.
nat 20.
Yeah. You nat 20 with that, you're critting on everything in that area.
Oh my gosh, that's so dope.
But if you nat 1 with it, you're also nat 1ing it, because so it's
Yeah.
it's used up either way. But yeah, so
A
the
literal double-edged sword.
yeah. And yeah, the original use of it, as Tedros found, was the Draconic Union. Something like this was created to harvest crops.
Oh.
That was what, yeah, it was.
Fucking
You-
nerds.
You swing it once, yeah, you swing it once, and it fells like an entire chunk of a field of grain.
Yeah, but they can only use it once a day. That's fucking
Well,
nerds.
It was
What do they
probably
more than one-
stronger back then when magic was a more powerful and common resource.
It's also
You
a prototype.
could have multiple
prototype.
of them, right?
Yeah, it's a prototype. Also, like, yeah, you don't know if like it recharges on its own. You don't know if they had a way to like charge it up again immediately back then too.
Mhm.
Pretty metal.
Yeah. All right. The Queen and Sully both like see you off and wave goodbye and look a little bit more confident as they see you just like slicing, like just you swing it and it's just like just like snow just like plumes up in like 30 feet in front of you, and they look a little bit more confident about the people
Brett
they saw.
cuts to them walking out of their home like, oh.
And they wave at you as you go. So you begin your journey.
Or you'll fuck a witch up.
So let's see. And you gave Nuela the information and the missive and everything. So
Yeah.
you see her leaving as well. Actually, so all of you can see how Nuela travels. Nuela also has a team of lynxes, just like the hunters with their sleds, but instead of being pulled on basically like a dog sled, you see her. She sets up this big like. She basically has this big glider contraption that she's put together of like wood and bone and fabric and like leather into these like this big like parasail thing, and as they start going and running, she kind of runs behind them, and eventually like her feet lift off the ground, and as they run she just kind of glides through the air, but like up in the air being pulled around.
That's gonna be so cold.
She's really bundled up, but yeah.
That's cool. Who cares if she's cold?
Oh,
That's
it's
dope.
so cool. It is
Look at
so
her
fucking
go.
cool. Definitely freezing.
And then she heads off to the south, or in the direction of the Stone Sea, because there, as you learned, people in Sverok do not use metal for much. The runners on their sleds are mostly wood. Wood is absolutely shredded by the Stone Sea, so she is one of the only people with her contraption that she created that allows her to actually travel over the Stone Sea, because her lynxes can run over it just fine, and she doesn't need to worry about the stones destroying whatever she's riding on, because she is in the air.
Glass ceilings could never stop her.
All right, so day one, you begin traveling along the road. Pretty much the beginning of your journey, the first half a day is traveling along road, like paths basically in the snow, but like well-traveled routes. But about the second half of your traveling day, you kind of have to start venturing off the path a little bit, just because like you're cutting in a direction like that people don't really go. You could take more traveled paths, but it would like triple the travel time. Just because like you'd be kind of following the web of town of like villages as opposed to just going straight across, and it's pretty much just like ice fields and things and snow and not a lot in your way, so it's pretty easy to just travel straight. So as you go though, in that second half of the day, the weather does kick up and you see the familiar sight of a snowstorm kick up around you, but this one does not seem to be localized like the magic one. It's just a regular ass snowstorm. But as it kicks up around you and like the snow starts blowing across your vision and like whiting out your surroundings, you can see that the wind is just cutting across the horizon and like slicing through the snow and like kicking it up. But it's like when the wind gets around you, it just like slows to a crawl and then speeds up again as it passes by. Like around you, like around each of you, the snow is just like drifting in calm little snowflakes, despite it just like whipping and whirling around in every direction around you. Like it just kind of like slows to a nice comfortable eddy as it passes by you. However, that does make navigation a little bit difficult because you can't really see. So I'm going to need survival checks from everybody to see if you can stay on track.
I've rolled so well today that I'm gonna fuck it right now.
Ooh.
Thanks,
Thank
Monty.
you. Hello, Justin.
Thanks,
About to roll for you.
Monty.
Oh, yeah. Oh, did you? Oops, missed that. Sorry.
I also got a 19.
Nice.
I got remarkably less.
I, for some reason, decided to put a bunch of clay in my dice box. I don't know what's wrong with me.
I got a 24.
Oh, all right.
Got a 3.
Okay.
Oh.
I got 11.
Okay.
I
Wait,
just-
do I add anything to that?
Wisdom modifier, or survival. There should be a bonus for survival on your character sheet by skills.
Oh, sorry, by skills.
Hey.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Hi.
I have
Hmm.
15.
Okay.
Yeah, also
Um,
15.
Okay, so you all do remarkably well. You do not get knocked off course even a little bit.
No,
Between like,
Viktoria, we're not going to go that way. You're the only one who wants to go that way, and we're simply not going that way.
It looks like a quicker way to the mountain.
That is wrong, Viktoria. I tell you all the time, quicker does not always mean better.
not even quick. It's like the opposite direction. Like Victoria got completely turned around at one point and like is clearly facing the direction you came from. You can be like, Victoria, those are your footprints right there, leading back. You are facing your own footprints.
How do you know
And-
they're my footprints and not the witches?
I'd rather
and
deal
like-
with the witch than this.
Yeah, so like Galina and Montblanc are like doing great. Tedros and Tedros and Yule are doing pretty well, and then like Princess is it's like the blizzard isn't even there. It's like you're just like, no, it's this way clearly. Come on, let's go. What is I don't even understand what the problem is. So that, because you navigated that so well, that means you don't get knocked off course, and you actually have a very easy, uneventful second half of your day. And eventually, you start getting tired, and you do know that like the sun doesn't go down at a reasonable hour around here, so you do need to make camp while it's still light out in order to avoid exhaustion.
I make camps all the time in the wilderness. Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do it.
Right. Yeah, so you can set up camp. You've got you have tent, like they set you up in tents so you can kind of look through the bundles they gave you. They gave you enough rations for 7 days worth of rations. So basically they're figuring like, or yeah, for each of you, yeah, enough for all of you. So that'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 42 days worth of rations, basically. 42 rations.
And I'll rate my 7 rations because my rations are vegetarian.
Yes, they did include enough vegetarian food for you. It's a lot of root vegetables and nuts and berries and things like that, but they did include them.
So
And then there's like dried caribou meat, dried walrus meat,
Dried rabbit meat.
dried fish, you'd be able to identify it. You might not want to tell Yule that's what it is.
I quietly eat my rabbit meat.
Okay. Yeah, and you can set the tents they gave you are like leather and the like the supports and everything are some kind of bone, and also with like a good amount of fur attached to them, like not enough to make them bulky for travel, but enough to provide some insulation and warmth.
Great. Shall we divide up the watches?
I can take first watch.
I can take second.
I can take fourth.
How many divisions are there?
Well,
I don't know.
there's usually
Is
4.
it just one person up at a time or two?
It could just be one.
Or it could be 2.
Or it
I
could
can
be...
take third watch.
Dang, I have 15 rations.
All
Can I
right.
stay up with somebody?
You can stay up with me if you like.
Okay.
Ready.
All right, then I'm going to bed now. I'll do my
All right,
bedtime
yeah.
rituals, and then I'm just gonna tie a piece of some kind of cloth, some kind of fabric over my eyes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go
It's
to
weird.
bed.
It's still light out, so it's like it feels like you're going to sleep during the day, but you are tired, so
Yeah.
it's weird.
Not that weird. I sleep during the day.
I mean, it's weird because it's like it feels like you've been up for this full day, like it's been bright out this whole time. Or like it feels like it should be dark at this point, but it's just not. Okay, so all right. So who had first watch?
Me.
Okay, go ahead. It's still light out. Go ahead and roll a perception check as you're sitting there.
Roll a perception check. Ooh, not 20, so that would be because I have advantage on that. So it's a 26.
Okay, wow. All right. So you're sitting there and watching. It's still light out for your watch. Like by the end of your watch is when it's starting to get dark, but you can watch from a distance. You can see you're kind of like camped up on the side of a hill, which shelters you from the wind for the most part. You can look out over the fields and you can see like wolves off at a far off distance, but like you can tell from looking at them that like they're not going to give you like that you can track them very easily. Like they go in and out of some bushes and like behind some hills and everything, but like with a nat 20 you can just track their movement very easily and watch them for a while and identify like, yeah, they're going away from you, they're not coming closer to you, and they're like miles away, so you're safe. You can catch sight of like a rabbit. You can catch sight of like a snow mouse like at a distance. Like you can catch the sound of it like burrowing its way up out of the snow, like scurry, like tiniest little crunching sounds as it makes its way across the snow, like nibbles on some plants and then just like scurries and digs its way back down. Like you catch so much wildlife, but nothing of like note or danger though.
Yeah. And how about my shadowy friend who I've been ignoring for the past few days?
Kind of standing behind you and just for once not looking at you, staring off kind of to your left, which you would know from your excellent navigational skills earlier today, is in the direction of the mountain.
All right. That's all from me, I guess.
Okay.
I
Who's
would
second
go
watch?
with
Monty.
Monty and you.
Okay. So beginning of your watch is when the sun is like setting. So both of you can go ahead and give me perception checks as you're sitting around, and like most of your watch will be in the dark.
I got dark vision.
Nice.
19.
Okay.
10.
Okay. Montblanc, what's the range in your dark vision?
I believe it's 60 feet.
Okay.
Let me double check. Half work? Yeah, I think it's 60 feet. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So the two of you are sitting up, maybe talking, maybe Yule is talking.
I don't get a word in. It's fine.
But you're
A little bit more quiet than usual. There's a lot going on, and she's simultaneously not getting enough sleep and sleeping too much. So,
did someone start a fire for your camp? Like, are you keeping a fire going
Yeah,
to
I'll
sit
say,
around?
yeah.
Or you mostly had to find like dry like scrub and like pieces of bush because there aren't like trees around really. So it's a lot of small stuff, and you really have to kind of feed it constantly. But you can get enough to get one going.
All right.
As you're sitting there, Montblanc, you're just kind of sitting there talking, and then you just kind of get the sense of being watched. You know the feeling.
Yeah.
And then you look up over the fire, and outside the range of your dark vision, you're not sure how far away, but out of the range of your dark vision, you see up in the sky. For a second, you mistake them for stars, but you notice that they're reflecting the firelight. Like as the fire dances, you can see it just barely, just that flickering reflected in them. 2 reflective circles. You don't know how high up in the air, just looking down at you from a distance.
I'm gonna nudge Yule. Just quietly, like nudge Yule and point.
And you'll see that far.
Right.
Give me a perception check to see if you can, like, give me another one just to see if you can spot them, because like they're a ways away and like they're up.
Always away, always away, always away.
14?
What was it?
14 this time?
Yeah, okay. With him pointing it out, yeah, you can, yeah, you spot what looks like a pair like of eyes reflecting firelight, just like up in the air, just like spread out. Like it's hard. Again, the distance is difficult to tell, but like they look far apart and up, like just big. Whatever those are attached to is enormous. If like based on the distance.
Monty?
Yeah.
What is that?
Not a bunny.
It doesn't look like a bunny, no.
No. Wake the others. I'll keep an eye on it.
Okay, I'll go get. But I won't play the wake up song.
Nope. Just wake them quietly.
She's gonna scurry off and probably start with, let's say, Princess, since Princess was just up anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna keep.
Also notoriously the one who sleeps like the dead as soon as she's out.
I'm just gonna keep staring up at the eyeballs.
Okay.
It doesn't take that long to wake Princess up. She gets like she has her nighttime ritual. She's probably still kind of awake.
Okay.
So.
There's something you should see.
Oh God. Okay.
Kind of creep out of the tents, and Yule's gonna be like, "Look up there."
It's like it's like clearly out of distance, but you can tell it's like above the ground. You can like with multiple people pointing it out, yeah, you can see just like this pair of eyes just like watching. And you can and what you can tell, another thing that really gives it away is like they vanish for a second and then reopen as you can see it blinking.
Can you tell like where they're focusing, or does it just kind of seem like they're looking at everyone?
It's hard to it's kind of like, you know how when you like shine a light on like an animal's eyes and they reflect back at you?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like that. So you can just see like the pinpricks of light. You can't even necessarily like see the exact shape or like the pupils or anything.
Okay. No, I'm just.
Galina.
Mm-hmm. Get Ted. Princess is gonna go find Tedros.
Yeah.
I'm assuming Viktoria and Galina are sleeping together.
I'll keep my eye on it.
Yeah.
While you go and wake up the others, Montblanc, while you're looking at it, you can see them just like after a moment, while the others being woken up, they just kind of like turn and like you can tell they turn sideways and just kind of vanish. And there's nothing reflective anymore as they turn away, and then you can just like faintly hear just crunching noises of like footsteps from a distance getting farther and farther away, and you just can't see it anymore as the others are woken up.
All right, it's gone now.
What is gone?
Something
What is
was
here?
Something was watching us sleep.
There were eyes in the sky.
It was probably like an owl or
It
something.
wasn't an
No.
owl.
Eyes. It
Owls-
was looking as they were blinking.
And owls don't make crunching noises when they walk.
Oh,
Was it your
No, they
patron or something?
No, my
Just,
patron's a big
checking
flo-
in?
No, my patron's an eyeball, floated, covered in tentacles.
Princess is gonna walk slowly forward towards where the eyes, like around where they were.
Yeah, I'll
Okay.
follow. I'll follow.
I'm also
Okay.
gonna come.
Yeah, I think we all just creep along.
And I'm gonna
smile.
have my flail out just to be safe.
I've
Okay.
got my shield hoisted. and ready
Okay.
to defend.
I have sleepily got my axe up. Like I
Yulyanya's
still don't know what's
holding-
going on.
Yulyanya's braid is holding the
But
quarterstaff.
yeah, no, that's
Okay,
not my,
so I'll
not,
just-
that's not my patron. My patron looks a little
So-
different.
Princess wants to look for tracks because Montblanc said it walked away.
Oh yeah, I'll look for tracks
Okay.
too, because that makes sense.
Yeah. So going off, so it's actually the snow is pretty deep at this point, so you're kind of like trudging through like knee-deep snow, as you kind of shuffle your way forward. But as you get over, Princess, go ahead and make me Princess and Montblanc, go ahead and make me survival checks to look for tracks.
Ooh, one fell off. Where you go?
Ooh. Okay. I'm using my phone app, so I gotta figure out. You said survival? Dirty 20.
Okay.
Lovely. That's for me is 17.
Okay. So you're both like moving forward and everything and like looking around, and the two of you are looking around for tracks, and everybody else kind of moving forward. You're just like trudging, everyone that comes with is trudging through the snow. As the rest of you try to trudge forward, you find a spot where like there's like a little dip down, just like for whatever reason, it looks like the snow has just kind of cleared in an area, so you're like not in knee-deep snow anymore. It's just like, you know, you're pretty much just standing on top of it. You're not actually like, you can, you know, stand a little bit better. You don't have to have like your legs engrossed or like buried in the snow. But then you look around and you realize that did everybody come with?
Someone should have stayed at the. I don't know. That's my vibe. I don't know.
Actually, I think Tedros would have stayed. He
Okay.
would've
The Tedros is at the camp. All right.
Loaded his
so it's like-
crossbow and kept it ready.
Okay. All right. I'm guessing Galina and Galina, Yule, and Viktoria like all staying pretty close together.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have
Okay.
stuck close to Princess because my whole like basically all my kit is I have to be beside
Right.
somebody to
Okay.
mitigate damage.
At some point, Yule would ask, like, would it be better if I cast light?
I mean, I have dark vision. So
Yeah, same.
I can see the dark. I'm fine.
So about that time, Galina, Victoria, and Yule are standing in like this bare patch of snow, basically. Which is when Princess and Montblanc realized that like 4-foot long section of crunched down snow is the footprint.
Amazing.
Whoa.
And you can see others you can see like individual toes, humanoid foot, probably based on the tracks, but
Fuck.
4
feet long.
A nice humanoid foot.
Could I do a check to see if I could figure out what this belonged to?
I'm gonna say with your expertise, with your training and everything, and what you found, that's not gonna be.
Yeah, okay.
It's what you think it is.
It's what I think it is.
Probably.
Giant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Giant.
Yes,
Obviously.
it is giant. This is a
That's
giant
really
dip
big.
in the snow.
No, we're dealing with the type of giant.
What type of giant?
I'm gonna assume the climate frost giant.
Probably, yeah. That's probably your best bet, given what you know. Yeah, you don't have any other information
Yeah,
about it, but like,
Fair.
yeah,
Probably
the environment.
frost giant.
This might be what attacked the circus?
Were there big footprints around the circus?
Well, there was a big thing that attacked it.
No, if you remember, so the frost mephits, the things you saw, some of the things you saw attack the caravan were the same things that attacked the circus. So like little flying, little like
Oh,
ice
I thought it
things.
came with a big one too.
No, it was just
Oh, I'm confusing
a
the
bunch
other
of those.
stuff.
Yeah, that was the polar bear with the mephits. Yeah.
That's a, yeah.
All I'll
Yep.
say is they're not friendly.
Well, it didn't bother us.
Yeah, it didn't
Yeah, it could
stomp
be.
us
It
to
could
death.
be scouting.
Scouting for what?
Us?
Yeah,
Who?
people in his territory, hunting territory.
Oh, does it eat people?
I'm going to say that's a yes.
I heard it especially like cabbages. I'm kidding. I'm so kidding. I'm so sorry. I'm
I
kidding.
don't think now's the good time to be scaring anybody or Yulyanya. Yeah.
I think I'm only part cabbage anyway.
Then you should be fine.
We should just keep alert and not wander off alone?
Just left Tedros by himself.
Yeah, Tedros isn't here.
Wait,
Well,
what?
he's not wandering, and we look back.
Yeah, Tedros is just like up at the camp.
All right.
He's standing there with his crossbow in hand, and he's just like looking around and just kind of waiting. Like,
Yeah, he's visible to everybody because he's standing in the firelight.
Yeah, Princess is gonna just look around like one time, like this fascinated like curiosity, and be like, okay, we should go back to bed.
Yeah.
The watches should suffice. We can't really do anything about
Yeah.
frost giants at the moment.
No.
Right.
What I know, because I know in some settings, frost giants do wander around a lot with mammoths and other things.
Mm-hmm.
Would I know if there could be a mammoth around as well, or other beasts that they kind of domesticate?
Entirely possible. I mean, it's the same likelihood of like if you see a person, like,
Okay.
what are the odds that you have a horse with them, for example?
All right. They do tend to domesticate and use mammoths as mounts too, so at least we'll hear and feel them coming. Yep. But they are known. I'm not 100% positive, but I'm sure they are prone to eating people from time to time if food's scarce. But who knows for sure?
So we just go back to the camp and wait to get eaten?
No, we just, like I said, stay vigilant and nobody wander off, and we'll see what happens. We should be okay. Like I said, it might just be scouting. It didn't attack. Could have attacked us because most of us were sleeping, so it could just be a scout. Does anybody speak giant? Could be helpful.
No, sorry, I did not take that class back home.
No, sorry, not in my schooling. No.
All right.
Yeah, I had it set up for next semester.
I had it set up for like 2 years down the line. It was
You
not
didn't
worth
have anything set up.
All right.
They
Well.
never let
absolutely
me
right.
in the schoolhouse.
All right. Yeah. So we should be okay for now. Yeah.
So you head back to camp.
Yup.
All right. Everybody that's not on watch, go back to bed.
yes, but Tedros now will get up and do watch with Viktoria.
Okay. Is Victoria
she's not-
third?
Victoria's third year.
Okay. Yeah, the rest of Yule and Montblanc's watch goes by uneventfully after that.
All right. I'll wake Tedros up and pass out.
Yeah, and make sure Victoria's awake. And
All right. Yeah, you two can sit up and keep watch. You're at the tail end. You're the second. It's like your two watches are the only parts of the night where it's dark. First watch and fourth watch are light out. So you're both sitting there. You're waiting. You're watching. You're just kind of listening into the wind, just like for any sound of footprints or anything. Which makes it especially startling when you just hear the first boom off at a distance, and you just hear this series of thunderous crashes and booms, and like boom, boom, crunch, crash, boom. Like the ground is just like vibrating and shaking underneath you. Like Victoria, the chains on your chain link are like rattling against each other, and just like this sound of it. And this goes on for a few minutes, and then just stops.
That doesn't wake anybody up.
Doesn't wake Princess up.
I might not wake Princess
I
up,
mean,
yeah.
I'm just curious for the rest of y'all. It doesn't.
Yeah. It's loud. It might wake anybody else up. Yeah.
Right,
I
that's
mean,
loud, then
I'm-
Galina would wake up. She's a pretty light sleeper.
Mhm.
That
I'm-
would wake you all.
Yeah, Monty's a light
Yeah.
sleeper too, just based on
Yeah,
his
well,
career.
Tedros would wake up anybody
Like
who's
this.
not awake for that.
Yep.
That's
Okay.
ridiculous.
Victoria is like begging for sleep at this point. She's like, "Just one fucking night, please."
This is normal for me, to be honest.
This is normal.
I'm used to not getting sleep on the road because stuff, career path,
Maybe you should consider a different career.
Oh, why am I awake? What happened?
You didn't hear that? You didn't feel that?
The ground was and it was shaking.
Giants were dancing.
They should stop
Well, they did stop.
sooner.
Maybe they're
Or just
coming.
not do it.
Well, maybe they're coming this way with a raiding party. Ooh, fun.
Thank you.
I think if they were coming this way, we would hear them, and it wouldn't have just like stopped.
Unless they're flying.
You know? What if
The giants
someone
have
They
else
don't
took
fly.
care of the problem?
They don't fly. They're too
And
big. I
we
refuse to
can-
believe that anything that big is flying.
Okay. The sound that was made.
Dragons?
What?
If it's a
Dragons
dra-
are massive and they can fly. What do you mean?
Giants don't have wings.
But
Yes,
what if they
but
got
Tedros
wings?
Tedros said that he does not believe anything that large can fly. Dragons are very large.
Nina,
Often
have you ever
larger than
seen a
giants.
dragon? Have you ever seen a dragon, Nina?
Shut the fuck up.
Dragons aren't real. No.
They're definitely real. I have
Dragons
a
are not.
storybook about them and everything.
You speak Draconic.
Dragons are real, Galina. Don't listen to him.
Thank you.
Have you ever seen a dragon, Nina?
Regardless,
No, but I learned Draconic for when I do.
you know, the
Well,
Giants are
super
definitely not gonna have
pretty.
any issue finding us with this sibling argument.
But so what was the sound? Did it sound like
Like fighting.
people? It sounded like fighting.
Mhm.
Guess? I don't know.
sounded like crashing.
yes, it felt like crashing.
From where? Which direction?
That way.
It's hard to tell the direction because it was so loud. It was kind of echoing around you, and then just like the ground was shaking. Like direction was difficult.
Maybe
That
Do we
way.
want to call it for the night, pack up, and just move on?
will
If
we have
we-
gotten enough sleep for that though?
Definitely not.
Well, if we're going to get, if I'm just going to be constantly woken up by everybody, anyways, then we might as well start walking.
At this point, I will tell you it's approaching. It is approaching light, so you're getting close to dawn, which puts you at like the middle of the night, basically. But it will make you can see the horizon starting to get orange
And
at this
we
point. So like
you know,
keeping
Will
watch
it
will
be
be
a
easier.
night of rest? Will it be like a full rest, like a long rest? Like we basically have gotten a long rest at this point, yeah?
Not everybody, no, because you need
We're
the
about six-ish hours into a long rest.
yeah,
Okay.
which basically means that everybody who did. Everyone who's done a watch at this point is missing 2 hours of rest.
yeah. So I wouldn't get a long rest, and yeah.
Yeah, so you do need to finish off this shift and then do one more, and then everyone's got enough rest.
Let's just look. But if we're gonna be tired anyway, then we might as well we'll just try and get some sleep. It makes more sense. If we just get up and go now, we're going to be tired.
Yeah. And
Whereas
also,
if we don't, we may be tired or we may not be.
But so far, we've been woken up by eyes in the sky and then crashing in the ground, and I don't want to wake up to that crashing coming down all around me. At
Yeah.
first, I was in my nightmares and I heard the crashing of the tent, and then all of a sudden, it was in real life, and I'm worried.
and if it is a frost giant, none of us here can go toe to toe with a frost giant. So,
I would give it the good old college try.
well, then we'd be burying your
Boy,
corpse in
you
the snow.
always do.
So,
And if that is how fate dictates I go out, that is how I go out.
That is not how any of us are going to go. Look, we'll just try and get some more sleep. We'll keep the watches.
is there any
Should
trees?
be fine.
Not there. You saw some when it was light out, like at a distance, but not really many around you.
All right.
Are you going back to
Alright,
bed?
Go to sleep. I will take over from here.
Okay, yeah, Galina, I think you're the only one that has gotten a full rest at this point. So you can take the morning watch as dawn breaks. So does everyone else go back to bed?
Oh yeah. absolutely.
Cautiously.
Okay.
Lights out.
Okay, Galina,
Dead
you
to
actually,
the world.
I will tell you, you have an uneventful watch. It finishes out the night,
Great.
which is now light out. You all can wake up after a few more hours of sleep. You know, you're a little groggy. Your sleep was interrupted throughout the night, but it was enough to count as a long rest. And actually, and Princess, probably about when you were falling asleep at the beginning of Galina's shift, your blade, just like at one point, there was just this slight like sheen of blue that blue energy across it that then fades out. Probably right about whenever it would count dawn as breaking.
Mm. Noted.
So yeah, and then you all wake up in the morning, rested, not necessarily refreshed, but awake.
All right. Shall we travel on?
Tedros will probably take about an hour or so to spend some time in prayer and change up his spell selection.
Okay.
Because we're probably going to need the new stuff.
Okay.
I got to draw new cards.
Me too.
I'm gonna scout ahead a little bit in the direction
Ooh,
we're
okay.
going and just kind
All
of
right.
see what's up.
Montblanc. Scout ahead. So the direction you're going is actually to the hill you're up against. You kind of have to go up and over
Yeah,
or
I'm just
around
gonna
the hill.
get to like the top of the hill and kind of just, if I can get to the top of the hill, kind of get to the top of the hill, kind of just like this, like crawl
Yep.
up the last bit and kind of just peek
Oh,
over.
okay, yeah. Yeah, you're like buried in the snow basically at that
Yeah.
point. So your eyes are just above the snow.
Polar bear.
And as you
just-
look down the slope of the hill and down at the area in front of you, you have a pretty good idea of where all that noise came from the night before.
Oh no.
You can see like there are rocks and stone, like big rocks and stone, like places where the ground like juts up out of the snow. There were a few trees down there, and bushes and things like that. I say were because yeah, the trees are largely snapped in half. A couple are uprooted entirely from like what looks like a massive impact. Stones are shattered, and there's just like smaller pieces scattered around. The snow is kicked up and disturbed over this whole area, and just like the earth has been like churned up in this area, and like dirt is overturned up over the snow, and you can just see like bare patches of dirt around. And there's also a few spatters of blood around, which like whatever made those spatters of blood was enough. Like it's like huge gushes of blood across the ground, but they have like spatter marks just like scaled up. And then there is about a 10-foot wide drag mark, just dragged through the snow, off in a westward direction, accompanied by a pair of about 4-foot long footprints alongside it, going just like off to the west and out of sight.
Okay, I'm gonna sneak back into our little camp,
Okay.
and I'm gonna motion for Princess and Tedros.
Okay.
Hey, figured I'd tell you two. Because no offense, I think you two might be the smartest.
That's fair. That's very fair.
Lean.
I'm very smart.
You're not here. In regards to you know, this whole situation, I found out
You're
what
just
made
titty phobic.
nope. I found out what made all the noise last night.
Yes.
Over the hill, there's a bunch of uprooted, snapped trees, blood, and shattered like rocks and boulders, and then a big long drag mark going to the west. We can cut through it, or we can go around it, but I don't think going to the west is a good idea.
It's also like it's a right turn from the path you're going on,
Okay.
basically too.
I just say if
Yeah.
we do cut through there, we should just be quiet, and we should be quiet in general. The further we go, because I do for sure believe we're in Frost Giant territory.
Do you think we could avoid that mess entirely?
Oh, for sure. I think we could.
Walking?
Yeah,
Okay.
we could.
Let's
It's
do that.
bad.
Yes. I trust your judgment. We could avoid eyes on that.
Yep.
All right. Okay. Yeah, so we'll avoid going westward. I think that's a good idea.
All right.
I'm just gonna turn around, continue packing up camp.
Yeah. I'm just gonna stay where I am and kind of just keep an eye out and an ear out just in case, like make sure nothing comes back.
Okay. All right. Yeah, you don't. No signs of anything else coming back or anything like that. Unless you swing very wide on your path, you will have to come within view of the remains of whatever happened
Okay.
last night. But You can like go around it pretty easily. Like it's like if you go left around the hill, you can avoid it.
Okay. Well, as like Tedros and Princess are doing their thing, I would say if we go left around the hill, we should be able to avoid it.
Mhm.
That would be for the best, yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to tussle with a frost giant, so.
Yeah, the way you're describing sounds like marking of territory.
Yep, and I wonder if oh man. Part of me wonders if another frost giant wandered into the territory and got dealt with, so.
Well, I hope I never find out.
Me neither.
So do you pack up and start on the road?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Two questions.
Mhm.
And I guess Tedros might have to ask Montblanc and Princess about this. Does it look like we could reasonably make it to our destination today, or do we have another day of travel ahead of us?
Basically what it is it's a day of travel to get to the base of the mountain, and then you're gonna arrive at night tired, and then you're gonna presumably rest, and then you're gonna be able to start the climb fresh in the morning.
Okay. In that case, Tedros will group some people up together, and he will group together Montblanc, Viktoria, and Princess, and he will cast Aid on the three of you.
Nice.
So you're going to get an additional 5 hit points to your maximum, which means that if you take, and for these hit points specifically, if you lose them, they can be regained when you heal.
Oh.
Sweet.
And it will last for 8 hours. So,
All right. So I will.
assuming that we run into any trouble in the next 8 hours, you three will have some additional hit points.
Ooh. Thanks, Tedros. Let's see if I have anything to help out with. Do you want a bedroll?
All right.
So I have a question that I probably should have asked way before this. What does the armor give me?
Oh, good,
16.
yes. Yeah, your AC is 16.
Oh shit!
Yeah, it just sets it to 16.
Yep, and it does not factor in your dexterity modifier.
The joy
Shit.
of heavy armor?
Yep, it is heavy armor. Yeah.
I'm
Ooh.
the tank now.
Yeah, you can.
Kinda,
People
yeah.
can miss you now.
You're just not quiet now when you sneak around.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
do have
that-
disadvantage
yeah.
on stealth checks.
I don't think that was a thing that existed
Mhm.
beforehand.
Yeah, -1 to dexterity really made that hard.
16. That's
Yep.
that's
And then
fucking
if
sexy.
Tedros casts Shield of Faith on you, that brings it up to 18.
Oh, that's sexy.
Magnificent.
You still don't want to
Oh.
tussle
Wait
with a
so
frost giant by
long.
yourself.
Why
do
did I wait so long to get armor?
Who
Who knows?
knows?
My AC is only 14, but Monty likes to wear armor that's not heavy.
You'll
Um,
can't wear armor, otherwise she can't do stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Monks don't need armor.
Neither do barbarians.
That.
Neither do barbarians. Yep.
Still.
Okay,
All right.
so start walking.
Yep, and going to the left around that hill and avoiding as much of that disaster zone as possible.
Mhm. Yep. So as the rest of you go around to the hill, you can see at a distance, you can see the churned up earth, shattered, broken, overturned trees, just like boulders that have been like cleft in two and broken and crumbled.
Yeah, Princess would probably be alongside Galina, like kind of like whispering, kind of like explaining like what that is over there, because she's like, yeah.
Oh, did you go looking for it this morning?
Our lovely scout went looking for it this morning. Just trying to find the best path for us to go.
He didn't debrief all of us?
You're being debriefed now.
Okay. It seems weird that it has to trickle through people.
Do you want your reports being delivered to you by Montblanc? Or by me? Which one's
You know what? Nobody has ever provided such a solid rebuttal to one of my complaints in my entire You're right. You're right. I apologize. You're right. Solid rebuttal. Thank you so much for debriefing me this morning.
Bill didn't overhear any of that and is just not aware of anything going on.
He was just skipping through the.
So for the end of your second day, you actually the map you got and the information you got does include a proposed stop point. Apparently, there is a structure right at the base of the mountain that will make a good solid campsite. So that's kind of like marked for you as both a goal and like a good place to start your climb. So that's kind of what you're aiming for at the end of today.
Nice.
But as you're coming into the morning and traveling along, you're walking forward and the ground gets very, very, very smooth at one point. And then as the wind blows across it and like kind of blows, like it's less deep snow at this point. Like the snow kind of got less deep as you traveled for a couple hours. The wind blows across and you can see that you're standing on the first few feet of the bank of like some kind of pond and ice covering it. Which like, you can stop, you get plenty of, you're not like out in the middle of it. But looking into the ice, you can see it's not just like water all the way through. You can see that there are objects, things frozen in the ice, like a whole collection of them. Like it looks like someone just upended, you're not even sure what, just into the water, and the things are all frozen in the ice. And there's a few things that you see that catch all of your eyes. But you'll find out what they are next week when we come back.
Man.
All right. Thank you for joining us, everybody. We've gotten into some action. We did avoid one encounter. If you had failed the survival check in the blizzard, you would have found yourself in an encounter, but you succeeded and avoided it. So we proceed onward. We shall see what happens as we go on, as we're approaching the mountain and the witch's fortress.
And fighting a frost giant. Let's go.
We'll find out. So thank you, everybody, for joining us. Thank you for being here, chat. Always a pleasure. And we will see you next week. So have a lovely rest of your week.